Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Summoners War European League 2025. We are on match week number 5, middle of the road for all of our players this week. And of course, bringing you all of the action is myself, Sam, joined by that almighty, rat-smashing, hammering Mr. Sishiza. How are you doing?
Doing very well, my man. How are you doing yourself?
I'm doing epic. I can't wait for today's matches. We've got a total of 9. Well done to all of you for joining us here at 8 o'clock. You set your alarms, you joined us. Every Wednesday we're here with the Summoners War European League. And obviously it's getting to that crunch time, I would say, right now. So it's kind of middle of the league. Everybody's played the same amount of matches right now. They're on 6. How do you think they're going to be feeling going into these matches, knowing it's kind of the final hurdle? The light is somewhat at the end of the tunnel for some of them, and some of them might be going down that tunnel that's losing. But how do you prepare for a moment like this?
Well, I definitely do think there's a lot of matches to look at from previous weeks right now. So definitely study those matches from previous weeks because most of the players haven't been switching up that much. And I think studying those can definitely help you to get some progress into your leaderboard right now.
Exactly, and you've been here, you know this, folks. There's money on the line every Wednesday all the way up until those playoffs on the 12th and 13th of April. Our current leaderboard right now, last year's winner is still sat at the top there, say, but everyone else seems to be on very close points, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like if we just look at the people that are on 6 points and 5 points, that's pretty much like 2/3 of the whole bracket that we have over here. So that's definitely very interesting to see. From the players that we have here today, Maligant is sitting at 8 and Merle are sitting at 3. So the big question is Maligant going to extend that lead or is Merle maybe going to be able to catch up?
Exactly. She needs to start getting some points on the board right now. Everybody loves an underdog story. If you can bring it back now and get higher up into that league, realistically, just into that top 8, that top 8 are going to make it through to our playoffs happening on the 12th and 13th of April. That's what they're all here for right now. Like you said, extending those points. If Malignant puts a good run together during these matches today, he'll find himself on top of that leaderboard, looking almighty and pretty, very much there at the top of that table right now. But our matches for today, say, any of those really stand out for you?
Well, I think we start out with a really of a banger because Bespoon in the end, maybe he's not doing that well in the league right now, being just out of the playoffs, but on the leaderboards, he's still ranked top 10. I think he's hovering around like rank 8 or rank 9, playing against Maligant, which is one of the highest right now. I definitely do think that is one to look forward to right away.
Definitely. And you were mentioning earlier as well, their Charge has made a bit of a run on the leaderboard currently in RTA as well, around the top 20, you were saying. So let's see if these prepared something on ladder that he can bring to the competition right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also interesting to see where he's right away playing against Josu, and both of them actually share silver. So let's see if they would use that. But first of all, we have Bespoon playing against Maligant, and both players have been showing a lot of LDs in their draft. So that's definitely a bit of fireworks right there.
Definitely fireworks is coming up in this one. 2 huge players going into this one. Even bigger when you're holding spoons as well when you're going into any kind of matchup right there, I think. But let's get straight into it. It's going to be Bespoon versus Malignant. Why did Malignant challenge Bespoon to a duel? Because he wanted to stir up some trouble. Here we are. It's our match number 1 of day 5, Bespoon versus Malignant. Look at the ratings there, say. Top 7, top 6 on leaderboard before as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And another big question is, most of the time for the pre-bans, first of all, what we see is the signature LDs. However, Xeraду is maybe not that much of a signature LD for Maligant, but it is definitely one of those units that Bespoon might fear. On the other side, that Light Gojo is definitely something that Bespoon is drafting pretty much all of his matches.
Exactly. Malignant taking away straight away the 33% speed lead with that Oliver. And Bespoon, good response. If you haven't got that speed lead, let's get a high base speed unit and partner it with another one.
Yep, but this is also something that Maligant has been playing many times. The Jian Hong into the Gianna paired with that Oliver. On the other side, we have the Miying, which is currently one of the stronger counters into a Gianna. However, if you do get that stun at that window where he doesn't have the cooldowns, it is not that great. But you can also add that with another Gianna counter as a Pater.
Exactly. Signaling right there from Bespoon. That Gianna Malignant, she's going to be on the field, but I know how to deal with her right there. Malignant right now, is he going to carry on going into that first turn and really get some control going?
Well, it is an option. There's a few options out there right now. You could also just simply go into a Sonya, maybe try to snipe something out, like a Pater or a Miying could maybe be a snipe right away. Actually, he goes for a second speed lead, but also set up for Han to deal a lot of damage.
Exactly. Preparing for some strips, getting those defense breaks out. Hopefully Han can turn up for Malignant right here. Best Spoon doesn't have a speed lead on his side at the moment, say, but opting for a Tian Lang instead.
Yeah, he's going completely on the Bruiser style of turn 2 with still a bunch of pretty fast units. So I think he's gonna leave in the speed leads on the enemy side. On the side from Malignant towards Best Spoon, you definitely have to be caring about some of those Gianna counters.
There we go. Mi Ying taking out Anhan. HP lead and the speed lead for both of our guys going into our Summoners War European League Day 5 Match 1 between Best Spoon and Malignant. That Yonhong is going to be going first.
Yeah, it's going to be going first, but the big question is, do you right away go for skill 2 strip? Does go for strip, does actually not connect, but I'm not sure if it's the biggest of issues, because if you strip right now, you can still boost up other units, and I'm curious to see, well, if you go for skill 3 right now, you still have your Oliver moving hopefully in front. Ooh, the Oliver was moving just in front. If the Oliver did not move in front, it would have been real bad right there, but with the speed lead, Oliver mostly does move in front.
Exactly, managing to get some turns, controlling that parter right now as well. The Twin Angels can look to get some more stuns out if they choose to. Ooh.
Yeah, that's just one extra stun, not too much. Tian Lang has something to say about it with a double stun in his own occurred.
Didn't manage to get a defense break though, but Gianna still has that bomb, lands it again on that Sekhmet. Remember, we want to try and confirm kills here, say.
Yeah, we definitely want to confirm kills, but in the end, you still have that vitality charge, full heal, a lot of attack bar, Gianna with an additional turn, and absolutely Malignant sitting in the driver's seat.
He definitely is, and with a cool time. Oh, that's big.
That is big, and that is once again what we do like to say, confirm your kills. If you were to take out that Pater anytime earlier, it couldn't have had that additional turn, and this might be turnaround. We're looking at just 2 out of 4 armor breaks, but we have that Laura damage. Laura damage is always a lot.
Exactly, she had that skill 3, and right now there's immunity around most of the team, but Gianna can strip it.
Ooh, Gianna does strip 1, but the Laura still has all of the skill, or has the S2 available and still has all of the buffs. Big question right now, skill 2 of that Laura, it's not a full activation, but how many stuns? Gets the AoE stun into the additional turn, taking out the Oliver, but Gianna has something to say about additional turns as well.
Definitely does get in her fair share as well right now. Even if you sleep, you're going to be getting that bomb exploded, but Tian Lang, can you get some stuns? Ah.
Not a single stun inside in that case, and I don't see Tian Lang taking a solo on this one. You would have to take a lot of double turns, but the Gianna bombs will rock in pretty soon.
They definitely will, and with that attack bar increase as well, the Twins are going to be doing their extra work, getting those bombs in. Can you get the stuns as well?
Does get the stun right there. We can add some more armor break, some more damage coming in, and Best Spoon does already know Tian Lang is not going to be surviving that bomb with a victory to Malignant.
Malignant coming out there 1-0 against Best Spoon in this best of 2. I mean, you could see there was a moment where it maybe could have turned around for Best Spoon. Malignant needed to confirm that kill, but he kind of got away with it there, say.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was definitely by the praise of the Gianna just taking a lot of extra turns, helping to get that cycling in, getting those bombs in, and therefore also instantly respect banned right there, which is also good for Best Spoon to have his Gianna counter banned at that same moment. So it might be a slightly favorable draft for Best Spoon in this case, but let's see what he goes for, because with that first pick, on the ladder, it's very good to lock in a unit that is just very versatile. But in tournament play, it's maybe better to lock in a unit that your enemy potentially can also pick, whereas the Light Gojo is not on the side of Malignant or in his box.
Exactly, so he's going to be facing off against Oliver and that Laura on the side of Malignant this time. Best Spoon coming in again with a Sekhmet. Volantis, though, opted instead of the Pandas this time.
Yeah, interesting to see. So we definitely have a lot of attack bar increase on the side of Malignant, so it could go back towards that Tian Lang. However, Rakdo is also an option. The only thing that I do see on the side of Best Spoon is there's not too much sustain, whereas there is some sustain on the side of Malignant at this point already. Plus, he could even lock in a 5th one, slight sustainer there as well.
Yeah, a little bit shown them from Malignant with that Veremos coming out right now. But the bans say...
I definitely do think you have to respect either the Juno or the Pheromos. On the other side is probably that Audrey, because that's the only sustainer. So I do think that Malignant has a very favorable draft over here.
Let's find out. Speed lead for that Light Gojo. HP lead on the side of Malignant. Going into our match 1, set 2. Can Best Spoon retake a point? And Sekhmet, are you going to do it? Oh!
Ooh, does not connect. We're looking for pushbacks. How many pushbacks can we land? We can land some pushbacks, but now the big question. We need provokes, and we did not manage to get any provoke. Also, if there was any provoke, Juno and Veramos do like those debuffs.
They definitely do. They want to eat them up right now, but can Ragdoll, get into the mode, start doing some chip damage away through right there, say, because Yonhong's going to be going next.
Yeah, Yonhong does go next, goes for the Blade Fan. Is a setup for the Veramos to also potentially go for an AoE stun. Once again, those debuffs all gone, so as said before, Malignant has a very favorable draft over here. The Juno is really good into the debuffs. The Veramos is very good into the debuffs. And on the side of Bespoon, most of the damage is actually going to come from providing debuffs first and then trying to do chip damage, which is just simply not going to happen here.
Oh, but does get a sleep there from the Laura. Oh, and it's going to go into skill 2 as well. Oh,
it's a lot of extra turns, and that's where we see Laura doing some Laura things. AoE stun on that skill too. It's just so much value time and time again. If the Gojo wasn't stunned, at least the Gojo could have went for higher damage and the cleanse. But as you can see, everything on the side of Malignant is just looking at full HP. Those dots might look like, oh, there's gonna be some damage, but the moment that Juno takes a turn, everything will be full HP again.
Exactly, and now it can start eating it along with that Veramos, and Bespoon knows. Malignant confirms a 2-0 win against Bespoon in our Summoners War European League. That'll likely take him to the top of the leaderboard as well, say.
Yeah, absolutely, and was also very well drafted by Malignant, reading the debuffs on the enemy field, going for that Veramos, going for that Juno. On the other side, we saw that Ragdoll in the final pick of Bespoon, and I think up until his draft on the 4 and 5th, 4 was still pretty good with it, Audrey. That definitely could have done a lot of work. But the Ragdoll in a position where you don't have too much setup going for it yet, your setup might be cleansed off. And then also having not enough damage just altogether. Like, sure, your Ragdoll is going to be good to give you turns, but it's not going to make any kills that way.
Exactly. It was a tale of confirming kills in the end for Malignant there. Then he managed to make it happen and make it count right now. A 2-0 win at this stage is huge in the leaderboard. Like we were saying, so many people on 6 points, 5 points. Now I think he'll have extended all the way, maybe even up to 10 points. So you've got a nice little gap, a little cushion going into the rest of the matches from today. And I think he looks like a very, very strong opposition there. Say, if he didn't have the Laura, fine. I'll take the Laura now. Now I'll do my work against you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also what I mentioned during the draft itself. If you lock in a unit that your opponent doesn't have as first pick, you're not necessarily really contesting anything rather than saying, I'm going to be playing what I've been playing all the time. And therefore your draft becomes very easy to read.
Exactly, and that's what you can do. You can study, you can do your homework for these competitions. It's a best of 2. There's only 2 sets to try and prove yourself that you're better than your opponent right now. And the next matchup is going to be Scribblebibble and Merla, both of them finding themselves probably a little bit lower on the leaderboard where they both might want to be eventually as well. But this matchup, say, I mean, if it's anything like the previous matches, Scribblebibble needs to play his own game.
Yeah, absolutely. We have seen it before where people started taking the Feng Yang or the Juno from Merla's side, which we have seen most of the time not work out that well. However, we also saw Slay play very well last week, which was just preparing very well, having all the snipes set up, and just multiple snipes in there and just instantly taking it out. I think Scribble has a few units that could do the same thing, but let's see what he looks at for pre-bans.
Exactly. What is the definition of a Scribblebibble nightmare? Laura. And Merla has a Laura, so let's find out in this match number 2. Scribblebibble pre-banning there, the Juno. Cigar being pre-banned by Merla as well. First pick going to... Are we going to see a Feng Yan again?
I definitely do expect the Feng Yang
Ooh.
actually is going to be stealing the Burghill. That's an interesting one. That's also one we haven't seen from Burley yet. However, it is also a semi-inconsistent unit. And it kind of needs a speed lead, which in most cases Merla isn't really playing that much. So still going back to that Viva Shell, do you still pair that up with maybe a Shizuka? Or is that the route that you're going to go for? Or maybe the Feng Yang?
Oh, you bring out a Laura to the field and Scribblebibble is not going to be happy. Shizuka partnered there as well. Scribblebibble's already locked in those speed leads, say, but who are we going to see him partner it up with?
He could definitely go back to a Yonhong plus a Robo kind of draft that he liked to play very much in previous seasons. That could be an option, but I'm not sure if he might be scared of that Burghild altogether, because Burghild could be one of those units that could take out the Robo or just take a turn at a moment you don't really want it and then provide any kind of strips and debuffs. But let's see what he goes for. Actually, he goes for the Fire Twin Angels and Yonhong.
Fire Twin Angels. 2 Twin Angels out on the side of Scribblebibble right now. Merla seems to obviously change it up there. We've had a Burghill first pick. Is she going to change it up for slot 4 and 5?
I'm not too sure. In this position, I would say that the Feng Yang isn't that bad. Sure, you're already fighting a Sierra, but that Feng Yang has been shown to be on a lot of HP. So into a Sierra, it's still definitely kind of fine. Plus, the Sierra doesn't have any attack buff, so I think that Feng Yang will survive it. Then the big question is, second pick is going to be the Vivaciel, and I think that Merle is actually sitting on a pretty strong draft because there's a lot of single targets strips for Scribble right now, adding in an AoE strip right there, but I do expect that Robo to be banned.
Exactly. Robo did come out in the end there, the wind one, trying to get some pushbacks, get some stuns out on the field right now. But will Merle be able to bring enough? Do you have to respect that Berkhild?
I'm not too sure. You could go for the Berghild, but I think you have to respect one of the other units because you can lock down one unit potentially, but the other three units might take you down. So it's maybe more interesting to go for a Shizuka or a Laura ban, or even the Vivaciel ban. I think one of those three options.
Boys decided for the Berkhild ban there, so we've got the speed lead coming in from the side of Scribblebibble, the HP lead from the side of Merle. It's our Summoners War European League Match 2, Set 1 between Scribblebibble and Merle. How is this going to end up turning out? Those Twin Angels are going to go first. Can you get a defense break landed?
Well, it's definitely interesting to see this Robo on the field with a lot of cooldown resetters. That's definitely not something you would like to play if you don't have any passives. Did already manage to resist one thing on that Shizuka, which is definitely very big because the Robo can't really go for proper cycling. Still goes for all the right targets, so still managed to stun everything that is needed. Plus, the Shizuka can't do that much if you already provide immunity, which the Twin Angel is going to do right after this as well.
Exactly, looking to try and get rid of that Laura right now, then very scared of any of her additional turns that might be coming out, say, but it's not enough yet. And Shizuka can look to get some immunity on her side, or is it a waste?
I would still go for the immunity because it makes it harder for the Robo to strip in a second round. Plus, additional turns is definitely still a thing. And therefore, we have two units. However, you did decide to cleanse off a unit that didn't have any skills itself. And I do think it's going to be the first target to be taken out.
Exactly, because Robo likely will have skill 2 again soon. Can he get some strips in there against the immunity on the side of Merle? The moment he does, he can maybe start to control a little bit more.
Yep, definitely. We do also see that the immunity from the Water Twins is gone already, but Robo once again going for cycling, and it's just a lot of additional damage. Talking about a lot of the additional damage, attack buff on self, 5 hits on the enemy. Ooh, actually less than I expected.
Does he manage to... He doesn't kill there. If Laura looks to do a few cycles with sleep, say, it could be turnaround for the match. Oh!
Oh, that's the first. Do we go for the Toy Knight? Toy Knight actually does not connect as we would like to see on that Toy Knight. So a little bit of Soul Protect going on that unit. Once again, Vivaciel taking a turn where the Song of Destiny isn't the best position right there. However, what is very good is always just sleeping the enemy.
Exactly, and managing to get that strip off the Laura before she fell down there, therefore couldn't be revived right now. But Shizuka's going to be taking turns soon, and Feng Yan just needs to get on the field for some damage.
Yeah, Feng Yang has definitely been sleeping and stunning for being stunned for most of the match. So it's been all eyes on that Shizuka and the Vivaciel thus far. But big question is, can Vivaciel take a good turn at a good moment? Because every time that she took a turn, the Song of Destiny was just not really connecting. That was actually a resist on that sleep. And therefore we have some more immunity on the side of Scribble.
Yep, and right now he can look to get some stuns out again. He's been controlling really well during this match so far. But Feng Yan is now online.
Yeah, Feng Yang is online, but where are you going to aim your damage? It's going to try to take out that Robo, but there's another charge fatality of that Yeon Hong. You can top it off full HP again, full attack bar, and we're going for some more spins.
Yeah, more spins going into soon into that skill 3 as well. Not quite yet, but coming up very, very soon. It's just the Twin Angels are providing so much attack bar here, along with that Yeon Hong.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I was also surprised that the Robo made it onto the field, because the Twin Angels keep buffing the attack bar, but also lowering the cooldowns. We have 2 units that can lower the cooldowns. Both the Water Twin and the Fire Twin can lower the cooldowns on that Robo. Plus Yeon Hong giving it so much attack bar, which just means the Robo is just slowly killing everything, while there's not too much to do rather than just wait and see if they maybe not connect anything, if you get an additional turn at the right moment. But until that moment, the Robo's just doing Robo things.
Exactly, and just help being put in from all of the Twin Angels. 2 sets, and Scribblebibble takes that first set 1-0 against Merle. I mean, it was just domination of control, say, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you were to ban that Robo, sure, Ciara would have maybe taken out 1 or 2 units early on. probably just one, because in the end her damage is just single target. But then the other units at least wouldn't have been stunned for pretty much the whole duration of the match.
Exactly, and right now going into this second set, how do you spin things around? Obviously Scribble Bibble this time will have that first pick instead, say. Does Merle want to ban out a Berkhild already, or is there another unit that she has to respect?
Well, I definitely did like her mix-up just of picking that Berkhild, because the Berkhild on the field would have been very good for Merle. But I think Merle has to be looking more at, like, if she wants to play turn 2, look for more passive units. Look for maybe a triple Revenge Vert or an Angela or Lucia or any of those units that might do something while not actually having the turn itself at that moment.
Exactly, and here we are, Laura being pre-banned out then. And those Fire Twin Angels as well, they were doing a lot of work for Scribble Bibble in that last match. But right now he does have that first pick. Is he going to steal back that Berkhild, do you think? Or is he going to allow Merle and say, I'm just going to rock another speed lead?
I do think that's against Merle. You don't really want to be playing that Berkhild because it's just simply too inconsistent. And I do like the style of Sierra and Twin Angels a lot more. So I think it's a right pick to go for Sierra over there. Merle answering once again with that Juno. This time she does have it on the field. Last time it was pre-banned. And going back to that Vivaciel.
Yeah, Vivaciel coming out onto the field. Then Scribble Bibbles in the previous part did lock in the Water Twin Angels as well to get another speed lead. And a Yon Hong as well. So it's pretty much match replayed for Scribble Bibble on his side of the draft.
Yep, the only difference right now is that Juno is already on the field. So you do already know at least one unit that does have that passive that I talked about earlier that can actually enable something to take a turn faster or take a turn while being stunned. So let's see if Merle can go for multiple units like that right now. Or maybe she still goes back to the comfortable units, locking in a Feng Yang and a Shizuka.
Feng Yan, and this time the Berkhild then coming out in a bit of a later pick than normal, I would say, there on the side of Merle. Scribble Bibble, last time we saw Robos. Maybe we're going to get some more damage coming through, though?
Well, you could go for Robos, but I wouldn't be against it just going for snipe kind of style of units right now. We do know that Scribble does have the Oberon, but something like a Federica has a lot of potential here as well. The big question is you don't see the 5th pack on your enemy's side yet, and we have that Berkhild that might have something to say about it, but he's actually finding some of those more snipe units, but bring in a Miying.
Yeah, Miying. What has he been cooking? We've got Merle then. It was a response to that other panda out on the field right now. Shizuka we've seen before as well from Merle right now. She is in that kind of turn 2 phase. Do you just carry on and bruise?
I definitely do think that she will take a little bit of time, but still end up going for that Shizuka, because Shizuka in the current draft feels really good. You can steal a bunch of those buffs from the Federica. You can steal the bomb from the Sierra, so it's definitely a good option for Shizuka right here if she gets the turn at the right moment.
Exactly. Let's see if Berkhild manages to make it onto the field there right now. Miying going out and Shizuka being banned out during the draft phase. Scribble Bibble to take that speed lead and the HP lead on the side of Merle. We're here for our Summoners War European League Match 2, Set 2 between Scribble Bibble and Merle. Can he get a 2-0 and start his day off just right?
Ooh, that's actually an interesting interaction. We have the Twin Angels moving in front of the Yon Hong, and that will give Berkhild a little bit of chance to actually take a turn as well. Let's see what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to be boosting up, even though that little bit of chip damage, is that enough? No, we're going to take out the Berkhild with a 44k, not taking it out.
Wow, not managing to take it out now, and getting a huge strip and stun there. Likely to fall down right now, though, say.
Yep, absolutely. But also the big question is right now, if you go for skill 2, does not go for skill 2. But that does mean that Vivaciel will have a moment where the Song of Destiny is at a very good position. However, Sierra still has something to say about that. Or not really.
She tried to have something to say, but does manage to get that additional damage over time right now. And a little bit more chip damage. But like you were saying, is it the moment?
Goes for the Switch of Destiny. Let's see. We do have a lot of damage coming in. Feng Yang, can you take that out? Feng Yang did connect the armor break on the very first hit, followed up by a double 4.5Ks, taking out that unit right there.
Exactly, managing to take it out. Right now, I mean, you can look to stun, but there's also some sleeps already out on the field. Yon Hong needs to get online with some skill 2 damage and resetting.
We also do see that there's a lot of damage going into that Juno already, but it doesn't really look like dying as of yet. So the big question is, who leaves the battlefield earlier? That Feng Yang killing out that Federica, or the Juno being taken out by all of the units of Scribble?
Exactly, just deciding for that skill 1, getting a nice additional turn, more damage going in on that defense break right now. And Yon Hong is 1 turn away from getting her heal.
Ooh, we're actually deciding to take out that Yeonhong. There's glancing on the side of that Vivichel right now. If you have a damaged Vivichel, it would definitely take this out. But in this case, the glancing made it where it did not die. Also, Federica's getting close to getting her skills back. And the moment that she does get her skills back, plus we first have a little bit of charge vitality, which is a lot of healing, it will be very deadly for Merlin.
Definitely will, and I think she does have it coming up right now, say. So can look to delete a unit. Going for that Feng Yen, does manage to do it as well. Vivichel versus the world.
Yeah, Vivichel versus the world is not something that we would like to see, and therefore Merlin concedes this match. And Scribble very well played, definitely well read on also that Federica in combination with that Yeonhong. It just works wonders against someone that likes to bruiser.
Exactly, pulling out a few more snipes. Merla's had it before against her. Hasn't managed to adapt so well so far in the Summoners War European League with that one. Scribblebibble now extending his point tally. I think he's probably also somewhere close to the top of the leaderboard right now, and it's exactly where you want to be after playing 7 matches. There's only a couple of weeks left until those playoffs, but it shows he's adapted and he's ready to face whoever is there in front of him there. So Merla, though, I think she needs to maybe try and change it up. We saw the Berghild this time round, but still.
Yeah, the Burkout was pretty interesting, but by it being that much HP to actually survive that initial hit, which did look very nice, it would have been better if it just simply was on more speed and took the turn altogether. Because at that moment, you could have maybe denied the turn of the Sierra, or denied the turn of the Federica, or even of the Yeonhong. It would have been a lot of options right there. But yeah, if you're not taking those turns, you're not really participating in the match.
Exactly, and there you have it. If you don't take turns, you don't take part. We've got another 2-0 going back to the pattern, say. Are we going to have some more 2-0s all across the board today, do you reckon?
Well, let's see, because this is going to be a very interesting one as well. Josu against Charge, and both of those players do like their silver a lot. So it's definitely going to be the contest of the silver, but it could also be the case where if I don't have the first pick, I'm going to be pre-banning it. If you both do that, silver's going to be pre-banned in both matches. But let's see what these two gentlemen are looking for their drafts right now.
Exactly. Look at these colossus of male men going up against each other in our Summoners War real-time arena. It's going to be interesting to see, say, both these guys I think are sat somewhere around the 6 and 5 points as well. So they're in the middle of the road right now. One of them, if they can extend those 2 extra points, is going to take them much higher in the leaderboard right now. But first of all, what do you call a cat that stores electricity? A per-table charger. That one goes out to you, Josu. In our match number 3. Pre-bans, will we see a double silver?
I don't think we would see a double silver. We might see a silver from the side of Charge towards Josu because Josu has the first pick right now. On the other side, also both players do really like their Jeongnam, which is one of the better pairs with a silver. So I think Jeongnam and silver will be the high contested units between the two players over here. However, also both players have been adapting towards the Twin Angels draft. So that's both the water and the fire Twin Angels. So I think there's a lot of units being high contested between the two players. However, actually an Oliver and a Kovaci are leaving the field, which just give Josu the option to go for silver.
Yeah, Josu there deciding to take out another 33% speed lead from the battlefield. Maybe it does signal that he's going for that silver first pick right now. Kovaci exiting the field. Ooh, changing it for Water Twin Angels instead.
Yeah, and I do think that Charge is very happy with that Twin Angels being on the field because maybe Josu can't really make it work for him to have that silver in there, but I think Charge is exactly seeing on the side of Josu what he expected to see because he's locking those units in very fast.
Exactly. The moment you're locking in units fast, you know what you're prepared for. You know what you're up against. Josu come in there with the Mi Ying and the Seimei to respond against the Volantis and Juno.
Definitely 2 very good 4 and 5th picks right there from Josu. So let's see what Charge can go for a response. However, I do expect Josu to just simply ban whatever Charge brings in the 5th. Because the draft of Josu seems pretty solid against a lot of dot damage and a lot of chip damage that Charge is bringing right now.
We're seeing a Vivichel come out onto the field. Didn't work too well for Merla, but it's a completely different person running it right now. Bans coming in, say?
I would say probably the Vivichel on the other side. I would probably give it to that Seimei because the Seimei, the moment the Volantis goes off, Seimei just heals all of that right back up.
Exactly, and any sort of stuns coming out, Mi Ying's going to be dangerous so as well. Silver being banned out on the side of Charge, and we've got Seimei there, so Josu will not be able to use the unit. Speed lead likely coming in from Josu, the HP lead on the side of Charge. It's our Summoners War European League, match 3, set 1 between Josu and Charge, who can get that point to get them higher in the leaderboard, say. Likely Twin Angels going first. Whew.
Twin Angels going first. Where's the main damage? Early armor break right away there. We also have the Asher moving right after this, so there's a lot of damage, especially with an additional turn. And I think we're gonna say goodbye to that Vivachel right away.
Wow, managing to delete that unit off of the field right now. Only getting 2 provokes as well on the side from Volantis right now.
Yeah, definitely not the amount of provokes that you would like to see. You can go for a single target strip, hopefully get the additional turn yourself. Does not get it in this case. I do want to say that the Jungnam is hitting very hard on that skill too because of that HP lead. So I don't think that Charge is out of the field just yet, but that Mi Ying is definitely going to be dangerous.
Exactly. You're never out of the match safe as a Jongnam on the field for you. I think we've learned that from the Summoners War European League so far. But he's looking to try and get rid of some of the other units. Those dots are going to be doing a bit more damage.
Yeah, they're definitely helping quite a bit. And also, this immunity is actually helping Charge in this case because Mi Ying is the only unit you don't want to stun. If there's that immunity, you can't stun it. So the game is helping you a little bit with that interaction right there. But as we mentioned before, and as you just mentioned it, Jongnam is always super dangerous to have on the enemy side.
Definitely is. Are you going to opt to go for a skill 2 right here? Put something on. Desed going for that skill 1 defense break.
There's just so much damage going in from that Mi Ying. That's going for 6k per hit, and it's a 3-time multi-hit. That's a lot of damage coming in. We do have a skill 2 right now. Do you go for connecting your kill, or do we go for spreading damage? We do go for spreading damage.
And he's just going to pile more damage into that Jongnam with the Mi Ying. Like you said, such big hits coming out right now. Big stun as well.
That's definitely a very big stun. Can get stunned himself on this skill 2 right now as well. Does it connect? Does actually connect. However, there's the additional turn, but you would have liked to take that additional turn to get your skill 3 in for a better stun rotation once again. But in this case, you're trying on the single target with a skill 1, but can't connect.
Exactly, right now looking to confirm that kill, but we're going to get some healing through. Mi Ying has done crazy things before.
Yeah, and that's just so much damage on that armor break. 6.5k per hit. That's a lot of damage, and I'm not entirely sure if a Juno and a Volantis can beat that.
I'm not sure, but he didn't manage to get stunned there as well. So Mi Ying hasn't been able to use that skill 3 at the moment, but skill 2 is good.
Well, the big issue is at some point, Volantis skill 1 is going to stun Mi Ying. A Juno, any skill can potentially stun it as well. So you have to be very careful and just kind of pray to where your despairs do or do not land. But this is, however, the moment. If you stun it right now on the skill 1, it will not have the passive up. So Charge is actually thinking, do we go for the skill 1? No, actually, we go for the skill 1 on the other target. But he is lapping because of that.
Exactly, and he didn't want to get a revenge as well in case he didn't stun, which probably would have taken out the Volantis right now. Do you have to Hail Mary in skill 3?
I think you have to go for skill 1 stun, and he did try it, and it did not actually succeed. If he did connect that skill 1 stun right there, it would have been a good call, but in the end, Volantis skill 1 is not a 100% rate there neither. We try it with the Juno, but in the end, there's just so much damage on this Mi Ying.
Mi Ying claiming the victory of that set for Josu against Charge at our Summoners War European League. Just so much damage coming out from Mi Ying there, say, and he knew. He almost like controlled Charge's team with just being on the field. Charge couldn't use those skills to try and get some stuns.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I would say that Josu's slot 4 and slot 5 was incredibly strong, because both of those were pretty much a must ban, because none of the units of Charge had a good chance to take out any unit on the field if the Seimei was on the field, and none of the units had a good chance against the Mi Ying as well. So definitely something that Charge has to be thinking of what he drafts in the slot 3 and 4, that he doesn't get locked out like that again.
Exactly, Mi Ying being pre-banned, respected to go out there right now. Vivachel as well being taken out from the side of Josu. Charge going for that Jongnam. Didn't quite do what we've seen a Jongnam do in the Summoners War European League, but he's out on the field.
He's definitely out on the field right now. Last time around, he went for Silver. It's also interesting to see where Josu likes the Twin Angels more than Silver. Definitely a very good, strong pair if you rune them up very good. We did see the combination of them two, plus the Asher take out the Vivachel right on that turn 1. And Charge is going back for a kind of similar style of units. So this time around, Josu cannot go for the Mi Ying, but a Veladjul is found right there.
Exactly. We're seeing a very similar draft again from Charge. Volantis coming out as well, knowing that he can get stuns without any sort of kind of kickback from a Mi Ying coming out from the side of Josu. Veladjul, a good answer, but not as much damage as a Mi Ying.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see Charge going back to that Valantis because most of the time you want to go for Valantis when your enemy is going for AoE strips, and then with those AoE strips, they're hitting the Valantis. Valantis can steal the turn. But in this case, it's kind of weird to see it where the Valantis doesn't really shine in this position, I think.
Let's find out speed leads for both of our contestants here in the Summoners War European League. Match 3, set 2 between Josu and Charge. Let's see if Josu can extend that to another 2-0.
Yeah, let's see if Josso can do the same thing. We're trying to get an armor break on something. We'll probably go into the silver. Does not connect armor break on silver, so that's a lot of less damage output right there. However, we can still bring up the cooldowns.
Exactly, getting the cool time. But right now, is it the moment for Volantis to try and get some strips and provoked? Veligil, the big one.
Yeah, Veligil's absolutely the big one. However, Veligil can still go for an additional turn, and Silver currently is 1 turn away. But the Raccoon has something to say about that as well. So in this case, with the Silver being pushed up, you can go for your cycle rotation right there.
Exactly, going in then for that silver right now. Juno's going to be able to do some chip damage, but if the additional turn comes out...
We had the Raccoon on an additional turn, so Josu was sitting on 27. That's always one of those dangerous things. But now we have Silver sitting in the driver's seat. And Silver sitting in the driver's seat, that's a lot and a lot of debuff. So this is definitely the position where Charge has to be thinking of, do I want to sacrifice my Veligil to get the immunity in, if I even get the chance?
Exactly, might not get the chance because there is that additional damage of time. He does manage. Woo-hoo.
He does manage with a sliver of health, and that's absolutely the right choice. Like, Veligil just did all what he had to do. But on the other side, you still have to fight that Juno and that Raccoon, which is just a lot of sustain going back and forth. So let's see if that is going to be enough.
Let's find out. The Fire Angel's still taking those turns. You can look to try and set up some defense breaks, but Volantis coming in soon. Can't get stuns yet.
No stuns, but we also have some more healing, so that's a lot of dots for the Juno to work with. Can we get some Juno? Ooh, you wanted to land on that Veligil because the Veligil was already quite low on the HP, but in this case, it still has all of those immunities up.
Exactly, and Silver there, just doing Silver things right now, managing to get those extra turns coming through, and he just needs to take more turns.
Absolutely, but we also do see what this Raccoon is doing. Everything is back to full HP, so where Josso worked very hard getting those turns in on the right targets at the right moment, it is still looking in Charge's favor by a lot.
Definitely is right now, but he's not. The damage isn't staying at the moment. Veligil, yes, that cool time is going to put him back in order to get that skill 3. Look, 5 more turns.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be taking a long time. And also right now, you don't want to be using any of the skills on your Twin Angels. If you do, you lose half of your HP and the cooldown is a lot longer. Does actually go for the Shadow Shot, and I'm not too sure about that because you do have that counter. And this case was a double counter, and it's not looking so lively right now.
I wonder why he decided to go for that, because right now the additional damage is likely, or maybe not now, but it's going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah, absolutely. And sure, the Veligil has a little bit of healing right now as well, but I'm not sure if this is going to be enough for... We're looking at 4 dots. That might be just enough. No, Silver has something to say about it, so definitely not going to be enough. And Justin decided that he didn't need his own units by activating those skills right there.
Yeah, definitely didn't need them. Volantis can come in, getting some stuns right now, and it's going to be pretty much all she wrote for Charge, as he was going to take a victory here, say.
Yeah, I definitely do think so. Sure, we have the Asher still taking a good amount of damage the moment he gets his skill off that Massacre. It does do a good amount of damage, but in the end, I don't think it would win even if there was just a 2v2 against the Draconian and the Juno.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still a little bit bemused why he was using those skills on the Twin Angels and taking the health down, because 2 versus 4 is never an easy spot to be in.
No, absolutely not. Maybe he was thinking that the units were probably going to be taken out pretty soon regardless because they didn't have the immunity. But then again, they could have still ate a few hits here and there where the other units couldn't have been hit. And maybe he could have gotten more chip damage that way. But in this case, we have a 1-to-1 with Charge and Josu.
Exactly. We've broken the pattern already, saying no more 2-0s, but out of those first 3 matches, 2 have gone to 2-0, 1 with a 1-1. Charge managing to bring it back and get a crucial point for him on our Summoners War European League leaderboard as well. We'll just have a quick recap of those 3 matches as well. But say, what a start into our match week number 5, eh? Some crazy matches to kick things off.
Yeah, absolutely. And still talking about that last match, you can also see the big difference in that Twin Angels connecting that armor break on the first hit or not. First time it connected that armor break, instantly that Viva Shell right there. Second time, tried to do the same thing on the silver, did not connect. And then it's like, yeah, I tried to do the same thing, but it did not really work out. And that's where you can see where certain drafts might look very good on paper if everything connects, but then you run it kind of back a second time, and then it's like, hey, that just simply did not work. So that is always something that we do see in Summoner War.
Exactly, it is. And just as your confirmation, everybody watching right now, you will see Best Spoon 0, Malignant 2, Scribble Bibble 2, Merlin 0, Josu 1, Charge 1. Those are only our first 3 matches of a total of 9 today, so 6 more to come. You should stick around because those players are still going to be playing against each other. It's going to be some exciting matches still coming right now as well. And like we said, they're all playing to get higher points on that leaderboard. They need to be in the top 8 going into our playoffs in order to play in the playoffs itself and get a chance to win part of that cash prize. Say, star player from those first 6?
I would say the most dominant victories were probably on the side of Scribble and Malignant. Those two were just, well, those were also the 2-0s, so those were easy to pick for. But then again, also the style of where they won in, it looked very convincing. It looked very strong. It looked very much like, okay, the enemy didn't have that much going in their draft. And drafting phase is so important in this game, as we all know. That's why you win your matches.
Exactly, it is where you win. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere, folks. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Summoners War European League 2025. We hope you enjoyed that little small 5-minute break right now. If you've only just joined us right now, we've told you every single week, 8 o'clock is when we start. You're already 45 minutes late. Not a good look, but here we are. We've had already 3 matches, say 6 more to go. We've seen all of the players as well that are going to be playing the rest of the matches today. Maybe already some shining stars with some of the units already. Mi Ying coming back in, being very dangerous as his little panda right there. But also Zhongnam, maybe not as epic as he's been in the previous weeks. Do you think we'll see any changes going into these matches next?
Well, we definitely have a few different matchups and different players facing off against one another, but I do still think that a lot of the players will go for the comfortable style. We have seen it with Malignant going for, most of the time, the Jeon Hong, the Oliver, the Gianna, and then just pairing it up with whatever works at that specific draft. However, there are also certain moments where it did not really work out. So far today, it's been working out very well. But first off, we have the Best-Boon against Merlin matchup, which is going to be an interesting one as well, where Best-Boon does like to use the Dark Panda, where Merlin likes to use the Wind Panda. Are we going to actually see a bruiser match between those two? Or is Best-Boon going to learn something from the other players that more went for a cleave kind of style and saw that being very effective against Merlin?
Exactly. Both of these players finding themselves pretty low in our leaderboard as well as it currently stands right now. They really need to pick up some points. This could almost be like a 4-pointer right now. If you get these points, you're going to extend and maybe get close to those playoffs compared to the other one. Who's your favorite going into this?
I would still have to go towards Best-Boon. So far, he hasn't been drafting that well with the pre-ban in there, because on ladder, he has a lot more freedom for going for that Light Gojo first pick and then just revolving all of his units around that. So far in the pre-ban, it does have shown that it did give him a little bit more struggles on that. But let's see what we have over here. Light Gojo not being on the field.
How do you like your victory against a G2 player? Shaken or stirred? Let's find out from Best-Boon right now if he can take down Merle. That Light Gojo coming out as well as the Vivachel. First pick is going to be for Merle. We've seen Juno before, and we see her again.
Once again, going back to Juno. So the first 2 picks of Best-Boon is going to showcase already. Does he go for a bruiser style, or does he go for a more control or snipe style? Does look more of a bruiser style, but Laura can go either way.
Exactly, stealing that Laura from the side of Merle as well. Is it Best-Boon playing against his opponent, or is he going to play his own style of play? We've seen it before against Merle with other opponents who have ended up losing. Feng Yan back out on the field, though.
Yeah, Feng Yang, most of the time we're going back into Shizuka kind of units, or I don't really expect a Berkelt in this case. Nope, we're going back to the Shizuka.
Shizuka again. Very similar draft as we've previously seen here. Say Best-Boon changing things up, though, with an Angela.
Yeah, so it definitely does look like Best-Boon wants to go for a bruiser matchup right here. Also going in for that Dark Nezuko. It's a really strong combination with the Panda at the moment, but the other units isn't that strong of a combination thus far. So Best-Boon has to be thinking about a 5th pick, which definitely does pair very well with the Nezuko as well. On the other side, Merle, what do you like to go for the units that you see on the field right now? Because on your own respect, you could definitely go for Federica right now. It will be triggered by the Laura, and then you can maybe snipe out a unit right away. There we have it.
And we're seeing an Abelio instead then as well, so getting some more sustain, again targeting that bruiser kind of matchup right now. Best-Boon's put himself in that position already, and an Audrey coming out on the field.
Yeah, Audrey is definitely one of those units that I was talking about. Is very good for the pairing on that Nezuko. But on the other side, you absolutely have to respect that Federica. So then again, Merle, the question, do you want to respect a healer as an Angela or a Audrey, or do you take out any of the other bruiser units?
Exactly. Figuring it out right now, using the full allotted time of seconds to make sure that that pick is right. We're going to see the Fire Cassandra go out, as well as the Angela, so we've got a resistance lead and a HP lead. Let's bruiser this one out between Best-Boon and Merle in our Summoners War European League match 4 right now. This could be a long one, say.
Yeah, this definitely could be a long one, but the main things that we're looking for is where can those armor breaks connect from those pandas, and who are they going to be taking out? Because if you connect the armor breaker now with that additional turn, it's still a lot of damage, but that is damage that Abelio can definitely heal up at a later moment.
Definitely can, and obviously that defense break is now in Shizuka's skill 3 if she ever needs to use it, or if she even can, because there's immunity likely to come up now. Oh,
Yeah, it was actually kind of an unfortunate timing for the Juno to take a turn because you rather would have taken a turn right after that Nezuko. So in this case, isn't really there. Also for the skill 3 right now, it's going to give you speed buff, but it's not going to be providing anything too much after that.
definitely not. But there is maybe opportunities to get some defense breaks going instead then for the Nezuka.
Yeah, trying to take out that Nezuko. If you go for skill 2 right now, Laura will go for her skill 3 after, unless she is stunned at this moment.
Exactly, getting some sustain coming in from that skill 2 then with the Mi Ying. Just providing some extra soul life, and again, we're still bruisering it out.
Yep, we're definitely bruising it out, and we have seen it so far. Merle is most comfortable when she is in that bruiser position. However, that Feng Yang does like to take a turn and not be stunned.
Exactly. Can Juno look to get her own stuns coming out right now then as well? Mi Ying, when he gets online with those defense breaks, it's going to be plenty of damage going in.
Yeah, it's absolutely a lot of damage. Also, this is a free moment where you could simply go for that third skill and just provide a lot of chip damage. Actually goes against it, goes for a AoE stun, but did actually manage to stun the Juno once again, which is a little bit of healing later on.
Exactly. Maybe right now if Mi Ying does take a turn as well, he can get a defense break and try and confirm that kill. But Shizuka's got something to say about that. Ooh.
Yeah, Shizuka, but does the Shizuka actually have any skills up? Does not have any skills up, so you almost have to go for skill 1 on that Panda right now. Armor break does connect very early on, but the final hit did not connect a crit and therefore did do less damage.
Exactly, so it is an opportunity now. Are you going to go for some strips, just trying to deal in some damage there then instead?
Yeah, the damage, but the big issue is the moment that Angela puts any of those shields through the passive of the Angela, you get reflect damage on any of those shields. And the moment that Juno's not on the field, I'm not sure if Merle is going to have enough damage to take anything out.
Yeah, let's find out soon because Feng Yang needs to get online as well. We're getting some more immunity coming up right now. Team ups, does it go on the Juno? Yes, and we're going to take her out.
We're gonna take that one out, and there's more recovery coming back and forth. In this case, there's just too much immunity for Merle to be working with, because before she at least had the Juno strip. She can still do the Juno strips. That is definitely a possibility. But can you connect them? The resistant lead says no.
Oh my god, not getting any of them right there. It's all driving force for Best Spoon right now. 4 versus 3, and he's probably gonna win here, sir. I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, I do think so as well, because once again, that Mi Ying is just so hard to deal with. The only one that can actually proper deal with that Mi Ying is that Feng Yang. But only at the right moment, at the right timing, when there's no immunity, no defense buff, none of all of these buffs. And we're looking at a lot of buffs on the side of Best Spoon right now.
Definitely, we can get some stuns coming in there as well. Mi Ying will get online with some defense breaks as well. If he can land, maybe he's close to taking something out.
Ooh, that's not that much damage at that moment. So the traits between the Panda, both of them are actually hitting on the passive part, where one doesn't have more defense than the other and the other doesn't have more attack than the other. So they're actually not dealing that much damage in these blows. But the big issue is Merle is sitting on 3 units, where Best Spoon is sitting on 4 units and full HP.
Exactly, and right now doesn't even get any defense break there as well. And like you were saying, that reflect damage, it's not a lot, but it's there.
Yeah, it's definitely there, and the moment that the Panda doesn't have any protection, time and time gets stunned, it's just not looking that well for Merle in this matchup right now. And as you called it earlier, this is definitely looking favorable for Best Spoon.
Yeah, with that team up, can take out the Feng Yang right there. And 2 versus 4 is always a tough position, but especially when you've got not very much damage.
Yeah, the damage is just simply not there. Where the Abellio did look like an interesting pick early on, in the end it would have been more interesting to maybe have something go for more damage in that position. But also, there was just 1 strip potential from that Juno, and that's not enough if you want to be fighting as many bosses that your enemy is showing.
Exactly, you can look to use the heal right now, but it would just maybe prolong what is coming. Can you get some stuns from Laura? No, but the damage is going in right into that Shizuka, and likely to take down an Abellio soon as Best Spoon confirms that first set win against Merle. Playing probably a little bit more her style, but managing to come out on top this time round.
Yeah, absolutely. And we once again see it that the Mi Ying, also in bruiser fights, but also in a lot of style fights, is just a very hard unit to deal with, because you kind of have to wait to hit it until the end or get like an early good snipe in on killing that unit. And in both cases, it's kind of hard to do if there's that much protection for that unit right there.
Exactly, not being pre-banned out though. We've got the Juno pre-ban, we've got the Nezuko as well there instead, they'll say. Are we going to see another bruiser match, or with that first pick are we going to see a light Gojo?
I wouldn't be surprised if we still see a light Gojo because Bespoon does like to play what he's comfortable with. No, actually, he's gonna go for a steal on that Viva which is definitely an interesting one because you do know that your opponent is slower than you, and Viva mostly wants to take a turn right after the enemy, but it's still a good steal.
Exactly, taking that Laura, partnering up with a speed lead with that Maw then as well. I think it may be the first time, at least in this week, that we've seen the Maw come out from Merla, but Bespoon locking in that full dark draft.
Yeah, that's definitely a very strong lineup right there because you have 2 units with AoEs on your enemy side already, and that is where Ragdoll really does shine a lot more rather than the previous match where Bespoon locked in that Ragdoll. So let's see what Merla can do. Still going back to the same units with that Feng Yang, I wouldn't be surprised to once again see that Shizuka.
Exactly, let's find out. No, instead going for a Miles there, so we are bringing out some damage right now. Are we going full dark for Bespoon? Maybe not yet.
Yeah, we're not going full dark, but that's definitely an interesting draft. But I'm not sure if that draft would have been the best draft that he could have made. Because the big issue is, at that point, you might lack sustain if your enemy goes for a hard sustaining in the 5th pick. I do like that Devaraja a decent amount more, but I would also keep in mind that you're doing a bruiser fight and you have to get at least some sustaining when you're bruisering.
Oh, no, we've got Zenitsu there coming out then, say. We know how much damage can come out from that unit as well. Merla, how is she going to respond here?
Definitely an interesting one, but I would say that the Shizuka is actually pretty good. But I do expect that if she picks a Shizuka right now, it's going to be bans on Viva and the Shizuka.
Woohoo! Nephthys coming out from the side of Merla.
That is definitely an interesting one. So that might make it where Ragdoll becomes the ban. But on the other side, I do expect that the Nephthys won't be on the field because that unit can do a lot to the draft of Bespoon right now.
Definitely can, if it manages to get that skill to off, get the Silence's defense breaks, allow for some damage to come in right there. Maybe you've got the setup of the strip, but Nephthys is not going to be seen, as well as that Viva. We've got the defense lead on Bespoon, the speed lead on the side of Merla. Here it is, our Summoners War European League, match 4, set 2 between Bespoon and Merla. Can she reclaim a point?
In this case, we have Merla actually taking a first turn, so let's see how that works. However, there is a Ragdoll on the enemy side, and there's also the Devaraja. So if the Devaraja does take turns, there's a lot of provokes coming in.
Definitely is. You can look to put a skill 2 up, because you know there's an AoE maybe coming from that Maw soon as well.
Also, this is the position where you don't want your Devaraja to move just yet. Well, in this case, it's not going to be taking a turn altogether, which is quite unfortunate because you want to have the provoke at the right moment, but there might not even be a right moment if it's just simply taken out like this.
Exactly, there might be no moment right here as Maw can look to clean up as well. Are we going to get some stuns from Laura?
Yeah, well, this is probably the position you don't want to go for stuns because the Miying will go for the skill 2. The Zenitsu is not stunnable. Sure, you would land the slows, but I'm not sure if this is the right position because you're just going to get yourself armor broken.
You are right now, and it's going to lead into that Zenitsu, getting the defense break, which is the most important on that Maw.
Yep, and this is going to do a lot of damage once again. Just so much damage coming in from that Miying. But then again, we also have that Feng Yang still being able to do a lot of damage. I'm not sure if that is... Ooh, that was close though. If you weren't able to take out that Ragdoll, could have been close, but we still have that Miying, but it is quite an uphill battle. However, the Zenitsu still has a second life as well.
Definitely going in there on that Miying. We can use a skill 2 from Maw, get some pushback, not quite, and Zenitsu has that skill 4 available.
Has the skill 4 available, actually decides to use it on a different target, so it's just going to be a little bit of attack recycling. How many stuns can we get? An okay amount of stuns, but that Feng Yang can still go for a skill 2 right now, or it can wait with it and use it when it's armor broken, and that is the choice over here.
Exactly right now. Miying does have that passive or that skill 3 backup as well, so if you go for a skill 2 stun, it's going to do some revenge, but obviously that Zenitsu isn't going to die.
Yeah, let's see where you want to take out what unit at what moment. But first, we have that Miying taking an additional turn. And we have the Laura being off the battlefield right now. This could be a moment if you go for skill 1 into skill 1 on that Zenitsu. Probably you do take it out.
Yeah, now we can go into skill 1. It's not quite enough on this side. Are you going to set up a defense break for that Zenitsu? Oh.
Ooh, we have the Panda taking a lot of turns, and these turns of those Panda just deal so much damage. So I think we're gonna see it all the way at the end. 1v1 on the Pandas. However, the Zenitsu goes for a stun.
You are not going for skill 2 there, though, instead, then.
Okay, this is the moment where we go for the Panda 1v1. So let's see. Additional turn, maybe one that you didn't really want to see, but this is an interesting matchup right here. But the Dark One is seemingly doing a lot more damage.
Definitely is right now. Miying coming in clutch for Bespoon. taking a 2-0 victory against Merla right there. Huge 2 points for him. Merla still will be sat at the bottom of our leaderboard, say. Is it really a chance to change things up?
I'm not too sure, but I was actually surprised about that final 1v1. I did expect the Fengyang to kind of withhold itself for at least a little bit, but in the end, the Miying was full HP and the Fengyang ended up with 0, so we definitely do know who's stronger between the two of them right now.
Exactly. You always want to be the stronger brother if you have a choice right there. Miying showing he has Fengyang in his back pocket every single time. Well, he's been very dangerous, at least today as well, I would say, for a lot of the different opponents. Maybe we'll see him a little bit more in the Summoners War European League matches that are yet to come right now, say. But what an incredible start to the next round of matches right here. best_spoon taking those 2 points. It's huge 2 points for him where he is currently in the leaderboard. Maybe he's going to join the mid-pack again, but he has to take confidence from that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely has to be looking at also, if he wins the next set as well, then he's definitely back in the playoff position. So that's what he's going to be aiming for. But he can definitely ride this moment of just positivity, of just like, okay, I took my 2 points right there. Let's think about what is my next opponent. But first, we're going to be looking at, well, that is going to be the next opponent of best_spoon in just a moment. But first, we have Scribblebibble against Charge, which are actually two players that play against one another very often. And that is by the simple fact that Scribble always plays at the exact same time, at the exact same.
Exactly. You always know who you're going to be facing off against if you're playing in that same window. Maybe they know each other's draft too well, and you're going to psych yourself out a little bit when you find out who you're facing off against. We know we've seen that Silver. We've seen the Yonhong come to great effect from Scribble as well. Who do you expect to have the upper hand here?
In this case, I'm going to be one of those people that's going to be on the fence and saying a 1-1. And that's simply because they know each other so well. And I don't really expect these two players to really surprise one another, because both of the playstyles are fairly common right now. By Scribble, it's not necessarily that he's playing something that's super common in current meta, but that was more common in the previous meta. However, Charge can watch that every day. On the other side, Charge is playing something super common, which is just all based on the Jeongnam and that Silver.
Exactly. Why did Scribblebibble refuse to charge his opponent? Because his stick arms couldn't carry the momentum. Let's find out if they carry momentum into this match, as we've got the pre-bans coming out, the Yonhong and the Silver right there, so we won't be seeing those in this matchup. Charge, last time we saw a Jeongnam first pick.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to go for a Jeongnam first pick once again, because he's been doing that the same on the leaderboards right now, and he's having great success, so don't change a winning team. On the other side, we have seen Scribble pick that double speed lead and the Sierra and the Twin Angels before as well. So let's see what Charge goes for the reply.
Charge coming in there with a Vanessa. First time today we've seen her, and an Etna as well. First time as well. Going in for some speedy units there, at least with a speed lead and that Etna. A Chroma and Berghild coming out though.
Yeah, two very strong units against that Etna. That is definitely one of those combinations that Scribble likes to play a lot, and therefore you maybe don't want to be playing an Etna into Scribble that much. But let's see what Charge can go for the final two units, because in the end there is a decent amount of strips, but it's also a lot of single target strips. So Charge could maybe be looking at like a Valajul or any kind of immunity unit to work around that way, or just simply go for a draft where you can lose one unit but still win with the other three.
Ooh, Parta coming out then on the side for Charge. Maybe an alternative to that Valajul and a Smicer. Whew.
I'm not too sure about the Smicer, because the Smicer into an Akroma often leads into an awkward situation where your Smicer skill 3, the passive, simply goes on the Akroma time and time again, and the Akroma is like, I don't care about this at all. However, you can't really prepare for that scenario, so it's a rough take right there.
Cigar coming out then as well on the side of Scribblebibble in response right there, but we won't be seeing that unit on, or at least in the match. Etna banned out as well. Speed leads for both Charge and Scribblebibble as we're going into our Summoners War European League Match 5, set 1 between Scribblebibble and Charge. Rank 3 versus rank 9 right now.
Yeah, let's see what we can do. We do have the setup once again for the Twin Angels. Probably we're going to be aiming towards the Sierra, but I'm not really sure if the Sierra can actually take anything out in this case. Peter in most cases, I'm not too sure about that, but maybe he wanted to go for forcing in the immunity pretty early, because in the end, the Pader, the moment it is in the bear form, it does not have the passive.
Exactly, managing to get a stun there right now as well. Can Berghild look to get a strip and stun as well? Going in for that smash, doesn't manage to get it.
Doesn't manage to get anything right now. And also the attack bars are on position where the Smicer can have higher value. But first of all, we have a few units of Charge moving.
Exactly, Jeongnam coming in, getting that skill 3, and does get the silence onto that Sierra. Can even look to land a bomb as well. Oh.
That's a bomb, that's a stun, that's a silence, and that's an armor break. That's a lot of debuffs on that Juno, adding a little bit of branding. So in this case, the Vader, how much damage can you do with a skill 2?
Exactly. You've set up some defense breaks though, so Chroma's going to be coming in soon. Not for much longer though.
Yep. Is this Vanessa going to be on damage? That's an okayish amount of damage for a Vanessa skill 1. It's always the question with Vanessa. Do you want to build it super tanky and people just waste time trying to kill it and then you just chip heal it every time? Where Scribble's actually trying to kill it first right now, but all of the units on the side of Charge are simply just super tanky and not really easy to kill at all.
No, and he's not landing any of those debuffs from the Akroma as well. You can look to try and get some defense breaks here from Vanessa though. Maybe you can partner it with another skill 2 for Jongnan coming soon.
Yeah, so the Burkelt in this case, it's really trying to find its right position. The armor break is really crucial for that Akroma. That's the moment that Akroma can do something. But what I was talking about earlier, the moment where the Smicer goes on the Akroma actually did not happen in this match. And that is the rough thing where you can't really prepare for that. But that additional turn on that Akroma will definitely take out this unit right now.
Wow, 17k coming in right now. But Jongnam has something to answer. Not quite enough for the Berghild yet, but not looking healthy with that defense break and that branding.
Yep, and that's where we have the stun, but in the Druid form, in this case, it's not a bear. Sometimes it's a bear, sometimes it's not a bear. This skin, it's not a bear. But in that case, the passive does not actually work. Can we get some late armor breaks? We actually do get an armor break. Can you bring 2 armor breaks right now and then have the Akroma actually kill a bunch of units?
Maybe, because you've also even managed to get Seal on there as well right now. Not quite enough on this hit, but maybe on that next hit coming soon.
Next hit coming soon, and that's actually going to be taken before the enemy as well. Right now, big question. Do you want to go for a pushback still on the Smicer, or do you want to be working on the next unit? Actually goes for Smicer, takes out the Smicer. But in regard, we're also going to say goodbye to this Burkle that did do a lot of work.
That additional turn is huge as well, because Parter will have that skill 3 coming up soon. The silence right now is going to prevent Jongnam from getting a good additional turn.
Oh, but it did manage to land that wild glance freeze on that skill 1. Those are not very high rates on skills on activation, so Scribble's probably not happy with this. And that's the moment that Akroma does not like to fight. Immunity on the enemy side.
No, and skill 2's coming in. More damage coming in right now. Can the Parter look to finish that with a skill 2?
Absolutely. It's one of those units you definitely want to be having some damage on, because a Vader without any damage, it just doesn't do enough. But this is the position where Akroma does have some issues. Most of the time, Akroma is left all the way until less. Therefore, Akromas are mostly also built higher on damage. But the moment that units start hitting that Akroma, it's just not enough to survive.
Exactly. He's going to take a lot of additional turns to get back here, and it's not going to happen quite yet. Parter with that skill 3 as well can put some more immunity, preventing any of those debuffs from Akroma.
Yeah, it's still, Akroma's doing a good job. If it had an additional turn right there, it could have maybe taken out another unit, but in the end, the Vader would have won that because the Akroma was just too low on HP at that moment already.
Charge confirming it, then getting that 1-0 start against Scribblebibble in our Summoners War European League right now. I mean, Akroma, like you were saying, with the Berkhild, the setup was there, but there was never a perfect moment for that setup to really take place, and Charge just capitalized on that again. Jongnam being Jongnam.
Yeah, absolutely. Jongnam doing a lot of work, but also on the other side, the Vader did do a lot of work, because Akroma just does not like to fight against immunity. She wants to land that silence, she wants to land that glancing. If that is not really the case for it just doesn't do enough. Plus, Akroma really needs an armor break to work off, because she's enemy max HP scaling, and that works so well with armor breaks.
There we are. Etna and Berkhild are being pre-banned in this set number 2. Remember, it's a best of 2 as well. Therefore, you can only get 1 point each from now on. Scribblebibble with that first pick as well. Are we going to see the Water Twin Angels again, or is he going to change it up?
Yeah, let's see. He has been first picking Sierra or the Twin Angels. Does opt to go for the Twin Angels, but in this case, Charge does have his favorite units with the Silver and the Jongnam. Also, looking at this draft, might you have been opted to just pre-ban that Jongnam? Because that is something that you definitely know Charge is going to be playing.
Exactly, he's played with it every single match so far, but Scribblebibble going back to then the Sierra and the Yonhong. It's been his classic setup so far in this week's Summoners War European League.
But this is also something that Charge can definitely respond to with that Phalantus once again. The Phalantus does do good work against the units that Scribble now has on the field. However, it is a little bit single target focused, but I do think that the Phalantus could do good as an AoE strip. Or is he going to go for other speed contesting units? Now, goes back for the Phalantus. Does he also go back for Juno that he did do in previous draft? Because that one looks maybe a little bit worse.
Let's find out. Locking in a Ragdoll instead then right now.
That is definitely a heavy LD draft that we see on the right side over there. Scribble responding with a Robo and a Cigar. But I do think that there could be a very good fifth pick from Charge. Could even be a Fire Monkey, and that could be a very strong draft on the side of Charge right there.
Exactly. C2 wind units. What do you bring out? A fire unit is the obvious kind of candidate for that right there. We can even see something crazier like a Douglas.
Douglas could be a thing. Well, Douglas, I would say, has an okay shot at it, but I would rather see a Meo Wang or a Marsha. I think Marsha would do very well in this matchup as well, because in the end, the Cigar and the Robo will push things back. Marsha gets a lot of stacks easily. However, just more immunity with a Veladjul is never wrong too.
Exactly. Bringing in that Veladjul, getting the immunity up. It's going to be banned out as well as the Cigar as well. Got speed leads for both Scribble Bibble and Charge going into our Summoners War European League Match 5 Set 2 between these guys. Can Scribble Bibble get a point close to the top of that leaderboard right now?
The big question is going to be, Valantis, can you take the turn at the right moment and then also provide those provokes? It's also interesting to see a Ragdoll on a non-will build. Most of the time Ragdoll is slow enough that people do opt to go for will. However, we're first looking at that Valantis, but Valantis was pushed back too much, so it's actually not going to be taking turn. But we have Jongnam and Silver taking a turn, so we're going to be getting a bunch of immunity right there. But first, Jongnam stealing that immunity. Not stunning so much today.
Yeah, but right now, Silver can come in. Doesn't quite land the suppression on the Ciara. Huge.
Yeah, that's actually very huge. And now it's also the big question. If you go for that skill 2 to try to land a bomb, where are you going to go for it? And we have Valantis moving first because of that Ragdoll.
Valantis coming in clutch, getting the stuns where needed, has provided glancing. Ragdoll can start doing more chip damage going into that Ciara.
Yeah, this is the moment where, once again, Ragdoll really shines in the draft. While you were supposed to outspeed the enemy and just overtake turns, you did a little bit too many crits, and then suddenly the enemy team is moving, and all of the other units could pick up so much speed, could pick up so much momentum with all of the debuffs, with all of the buffs, and just a lot of damage, and simply taking everything out.
I can only imagine the rage coming out from Scribble Bibble as he has conceded against Charge 0-2 there, say. I mean, Charge came in with a game plan, and that Jongnam is built different, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. But also the LDs that Charge plays with the Jongnam work out very well, because in the end, it is pretty hard to ruin a Valantis that outspeeds a Jongnam. Whereas the Valantis base speed is near to nothing. That's often one of those units like, yeah, how am I going to put this unit on this pair? It's so hard to do compared to a Jongnam with an insane amount of base speed. So definitely good on the rune side there as well. But also just having that Ragdoll, it just works out so well where, okay, the Yeon Hong would have moved, the Ciara would have moved. No, wait, the Valantis only moves because of that Ragdoll.
Exactly, and I think right there for Charge, 2 points at this stage currently in the league, especially 2 points against somebody who was currently ranked 3rd in the league as well, is going to do wonders for his position currently in our leaderboard right there. There's been some crazy matches already. I think the mid pack is slowly starting to kind of creep up in terms of like the widening of the points between that lower end and the top end as well. We'll see that at the end of today to see exactly how things are standing. But those matches so far, say, seen a lot of 2-0s today, actually. I mean, not quite in the pattern format, which we like, but still a lot of 2-0s. People are prepared today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've seen more 2-0s than any week so far, at least in the first 5 matches. Most of the time, we had, by this point, at least 2 or 3 like 1-1s. And now, well, actually, I do see a pattern right here. It's not really a pattern you can fully repeat, but I do definitely see a nice pattern right there.
Exactly. We're all about the patterns right now. Josu and Malignant is that next matchup as well. Are they going to complete the pattern or rewrite history in the pattern of the Summoners War European League right there? Josu and Malignant. I mean, Josu's been playing some crazy good stuff as well. Malignant, very high up in the leaderboards. Favorite player going into this one?
Well, it's hard to say, but I would say Josu has a good shot against Malignant because of that Miying. Because Malignant just likes to put so much effort into that Gianna, and it's been working very well. But one of the biggest counts, if not the biggest counters to a Gianna right now, is that Miying, and it just makes it so dangerous. So let's see if Josu can make his work way around there, or Malignant is just simply going to go for analyzing that, seeing like, okay, I've seen that Miying work before, you're not going to be playing it in at least the first match.
Exactly. Well, one of these players might lose from this matchup, but hey-ho, might not be any silver lining for Josu since he's not using that unit, and he's destroyed my joke here, say I'm not happy about Josu, as we see pre-bans coming in, Miying and Gianna there. Pwah.
which is actually a very interesting one for both sides because you ban the counter and also the thing that it's supposed to be countering. So we're not going to see any of those, but that does also mean in the next matchup you're going to have both in there. But first, looking at this one, we do still have Malignant going for, well, I have no Gianna. Now we go for the other AoE strip that's very strong. Laura in there.
Exactly. A respond there from Josu then with the Esche and the Velajul as well right now. He's definitely changing things up right now, but there's still the silver that he's not deciding to use at all during these matches.
Yeah, maybe I've seen it on leaderboards. I've been following these players play on the leaderboards as well, and Josu with the silver was actually not climbing that much, whereas the moment he switched to the Twin Angels, he actually had a very good climb, so that might be one of those responses where it's like, okay, this team is working for me, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the better or like technical set better LDs are working best for you. It still could be a late pick though, in a moment like this where you would say like, okay, enemy only has one good AoE strip. I might lock it in still in this position, but let's see what it goes for.
Let's find out right now. Interesting to see as well this. I'm just looking at the side. Malignant currently ranked #1 on the leaderboard. You get another 2 points and you're going to be able to extend your lead above all of the players. It's going to be huge. Fire Twin Angels coming out then for Josu. Oh, Water Gojo as well.
Water Gojo, it's definitely one of those units that a lot of people, I see it on Twitch most of the time, people are like, what is this unit doing? It's doing nothing. I just see it die. It does have a niche set where it simply counters Olivers and also other units that push back because the unit cannot be pushed back. However, the big issue for him is his skill 1 is not scaling off defense and he gets a defense buff. He wants to be scaling off defense. He will be incredibly strong that way. But in this case, not going to be there. But with all of those pushbacks in there and even adding another pushback right there, the Gojo might actually be good in this match.
Let's find out then. Cigar entered the field then from Malignant on his side right now. Are you going to respect that Gojo, like you were saying, with the attack bars, or is one of the other units a little bit more oppressive for you? Jongnam's been dealing it so much damage on the side of the players right now. We've got Laura being banned out and those Fire Twin Angels, so we're going to have speed leads for both Josu and Malignant going into our Summoners War European League Match 6, Set 1 between Josu and Malignant right now.
Yeah, let's see where we go for. Sure, the Cigar can still land most of the skills, but my eyes are still on that Gojo. If the Gojo isn't stunned by that Jongnam, which it's not going to get in that first rotation, it can be annoying in a long during match, but then again, Jongnam is Jongnam, and it's a very dangerous unit.
Exactly. Did manage to get the strip on that Esche. It has managed to reset as well from that Oliver right now. Is it a moment for a Velajul additional turn soon as well?
Yeah, that's definitely what we're going to be looking at. And in this case, actually opts to go for skill 1 first to get that defense buff. The skill 2 is defense scaling. And you can see a decent amount of damage coming out there already. But he has to do a few more of those before he gets anywhere.
Definitely he has the option to try and use those Twin Angels right now. On to, do you get the defense break? You do land. There's a lot of damage going in there.
That's definitely a lot of damage, and this is the position where the Gojo is best, because normally the skill 3, the best position for the skill 3 would be the Gojo, but in this case, it is simply not. And the Gojo has a good chance of actually taking out that Yan Hong right here.
Yeah, you can use that skill 2, manage to get rid of the shield, leave the branding in there as well. There's no good skills out here from Yan Hong right now. Do land a glance in though.
Big question, skill 1, once again, it is not defense scaling. If it was defense scaling, you would have absolutely taken out the Yan Hong. But in this case, most likely not going to take it out, but it can provide a stun.
Definitely can. Going for that defense rate, getting a huge provoke there on those Twin Angels as well right now. Oliver can look to control as well. Maybe going into that Esche.
Actually goes for a control into that Gojo, so lowering the cooldown, but at the process where it was hitting that Gojo, it can also not absorb, because if you cannot lower, you can therefore also not absorb. And that makes Oliver a little bit awkward in this position, where the Gojo actually does shine quite well.
Definitely does shine, and he's keeping up with that defense buff as well right now, getting the stuns in where it needs to. We're going to need some provokes from Cigar as well to try and stop this.
At the end, it is going to be a fire or a wind battle against water with the Gojo and the Oliver on the other side and the Cigar on the other side. So it is not going to be that beneficial. And sure, you can still reset cooldowns, but as long as there's some units on the side of Josu, I think he has a decent shot at it.
Let's find out. Are you going to be able to get a freeze right now as well? If your Jongnam has been doing it in previous matches, doesn't get it this time, but you can land a defense break with Velajul.
Defense break does actually not connect on that Oliver, and I've seen this Oliver from Malignant going for a lot of resists so far already, so it definitely might be a 100 resistance one. Also, the Jongnam is going to have skill ups really soon right now, so if that third skill connects, there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of stuns, it might be game right there.
Exactly right now. Getting some big stuns out there as well. And that skill 2 on a defense break is going to do a lot of damage. Deciding not though.
Deciding to go for a hit on a defense scaling unit, so in most cases doesn't have that much HP. And he does actually notice that Gojo is giving him a lot more trouble that he thought he would do at the first place.
Yep, definitely is. And he's been on that field, getting some big stuns still. But he's going to be up against 2 wind units right now.
Yeah, 2 wind units, and you first have to get rid of this Jongnam as well, because as long as the Jongnam is on the field, that is where you can die to. That skill 2, that skill 3 does hurt very well and very hard on that Gojo, because in the end, Gojo is mostly built with a lot of defense.
Ooh.
Stun does not connect, but the additional turn does connect. Giant bat, can we go for some more stuns? We do connect the stuns right there, and this Gojo is seemingly at despair, so no additional turns for it.
Exactly, getting so much sustain from Jongnam as well. With that Sagai getting the cool time, taking out the Gojo. And now Oliver can look to clean up for Malignant, who confirms that set win against Josu right there. Malignant coming in clutch then. We saw the Gojo, he was trying to do some really good work, but in the end, there was just too much oppression coming in from Malignant there, say.
Yeah, it's once again that Jongnam. Jongnam was the one that giving the big trouble, because in the end the skill 2 just did a 7.5k straight up damage, which the Gojo did not really like. Once again, it's a defense scaling unit, so you add in a lot of defense for it, but therefore you're also lacking on the HP section, and the defense buff that you have does not work against an ignored defense skill right there. So the Jongnam, if you were to be able to take out the Jongnam any earlier, I think that you also had a good shot with that Gojo right there.
Exactly, but this time we've had pre-bans coming in. De Yonghon has been respected. We've got the Fire Twin Angels out as well. Malignant going in for a 33% speed lead. Still no silver for Josu.
Yeah, I don't think that Josu is going to be picking up any silver unless it's maybe a really late pick. Malignant does have the Gianna right here, so that probably does also mean that the Ming of Josu will make its appearance. But then the big question is, where would you like to pair that with? Because also the immunity unit that you do like to use has been stolen, and the other one has been pre-bet. You still have that silver though.
Ooh, we do have that silver, and we do see it this time for Josu partnering up with that Jongnam as well, causing him all sorts of problems in that last set. And if you can't beat them, join them and take it for your side. But we're seeing a Hagang coming out and a Zenisek.
That Hagang is kind of in an awkward position in my opinion, because if you ban out that Valor and you are able to withstand the Gianna for long enough, sure, the Oliver and Gianna will be pretty difficult. A Seimei is also a good option. I do think that the Seimei will be banned out, however, but that Hagang feels a little bit in a weird position right here.
Definitely does, but we've seen that Seimei come out from Josu. It's going to be banned out, as well as the Oliver as well on the side of Malignant. Speed lead versus the attack lead as we're going into our Summoners War European League. Match 6, set 2 between Josu and Malignant. Can Malignant get another 2-0 and be really at the top of this league?
Yeah, so the big question is going to be, where are you going to be aiming your strip towards? Because you can force something to take a turn, and it's actually going to go, ooh, that's a very good rotation there for not landing. But then again, that is the part that you did want to land, and you also didn't land that one. If the armor break was there, the Hagang would have boosted more, and therefore Gianna would have taken the turn. But in this case, everything just did not really connect as planned.
No, it's not come in there, and Hagang right now deciding not to use skill 2. We've got Zenisek can look to land a bomb, does get it along with the stun, and Gianna can land another one as well. It's not, ooh, misses her.
Misses it, and definitely is a good choice to not go for the skill 3 just yet. First wait for the hacker to do its skills, because this is the right moment you do actually want to be using your skills as that Gianna.
Exactly, as the Gianna, as even the Hagang as well. You've got 2 opportunities to kind of strip there as well, say. We're going to be able to try and push back, but nothing is happening, and Josu, it's kind of a waiting game at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely a waiting game, but it's also on the other side kind of a game of waiting. Where's the damage gonna come from? Well, if you get Hagangs that also act like a Gianna, it definitely does help out a lot. But the moment that the Jongnam can get some skills in, or some bombs are resisted, you can still get a lot of turns against this comp that Malignant is bringing.
Definitely can. Looking for some pushbacks right here then. Maybe a little bit of sustain coming in from the Zenisek as well for that Gianna. But these skill 2s have been deadly. Not going for it yet.
Trying to get that stun in this position on that skill 1, but did not connect neither. So in this case, we're probably going to say goodbye to that Asher real soon. I don't see it surviving another turn. But in this case, the skill 2, 10k damage on an already branding landing there.
Are you looking for some stuns as well? Maybe you need it on that Gianna. I don't think Velajul has skill 3 up. At least not in the next turn right now.
No, it doesn't have it as of yet, but you also look at that Zinnesek. Sure, you could have stunned the Hey Gang, but in the end, the Gianna you can't stun by the simple fact of that Zinnesek being on the field.
Exactly, and right now it's going to be slow. He's expecting that bomb to be enough right now on the Esche, landing one as well on that Silver. Phew.
Yeah, there's just so much work gonna come from that Gianna, but also the Zinnesek is keeping everything so well of not being stunned every time. And where also actually had a very good rotation at first, or potential very good rotation at first, it did not work out in the end.
Definitely didn't. There is there just to try and cycle, get through, get some more stuns resisted, but Jeongnam has done crazy things, but not when you're stunned.
Nope, Jeongnam definitely has to be working against something that is not too much immunity there. And for that reason, I also kind of expected the Valajul not to be on the field, because a Hey Gang is a really strong unit. But the Hey Gang is only really strong in a later part of the fight if there are immunities or any kind of buffs to be working from. And as long as you keep a unit in that can provide those immunities, you're not going to have a good match as we saw just now. If you were to remove that, then Hey Gang after turn 1 would have pretty much been a useless pick.
Exactly, and Malignant has extended his lead at the top of our leaderboard with an extra 2 points there against Josu. It's huge for him right there. Very well played overall, I would say. Like, just very tactical, calculated risks and managing to make it kind of pull off. But it's obviously somewhat easier when you've got a box that big and you've got a brain like that from Malignant right there. Josu coming away from a 0-2 there. Probably going to find himself in the mid-pack as well there, say, but Malignant, strong competitor this year, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. So that is one that Pinkroyd is probably going to be facing up against anytime soon as well. And I'm curious to see what the battle will be between the two players if they haven't fought already before. Can't exactly remember, but that is definitely something that's at the position that the two players are right now will most likely make it to the playoffs.
Exactly, and that's why we're here, folks. We're here for the league at the moment, but those playoffs are only around the corner, less than a month away, actually, in order for us to watch them over a weekend. That won't be 8 o'clock, by the way, but every other Wednesday up until that point will still be at 8 o'clock, so make sure you're joining us for all of the action. And just to take a look back at it, you can see the confirmation there. The pattern, say, has gone.
Well, unless this is the repeat of the pattern, so we're going back to a 1-1 and then double 2-0. That could be a pattern right there. I see it.
Well, hopefully for you and for my sanity as well, we can see some more of the patterns as well. But we've still got 3 more huge matches to go in our day number 5 of the Summoners War European League. And you've been here with us for those first 6 matches. And what more can we do than say how thankful we are, give our appreciation to all of you. Make sure you check out in chat very, very soon for this wonderful coupon code. Swell to win 100 energy and 1 mystical scroll. Don't thank us any more than you need to, especially when you get that next Nat 5, right, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. We're all looking for the Jeongnams by this point on so far. I think Jeongnam is sitting on a pretty good win rate. Did not manage to win in that last match that we just saw right now, but so far, Jeongnam is doing very well. So that is definitely one of those units that you want to be looking out for.
Exactly. If you manage to summon it, let us know in chat. I mean, we're all eyes and ears to see exactly what everybody is pulling. But 3 more matches to go, say. 3 final matches from today. How do you expect them to kind of go? Are we seeing more 2-0s?
Well, I do expect to see more 2-0s, but it's also going to be, once again, the question. You've seen the other people play. You know what they're playing. Do your homework. You got 5 minutes. Same as you guys. Grab a drink, grab a snack.
Exactly. We'll see you very, very soon. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Summoners War European League 2025 match week number 5. We hope you enjoyed a nice little 5-minute break there. We've got our final 3 matches of the day still to come right now, and there's still some crazy matchups still to be happening as well. Everything is still to be dictated on our leaderboard for the final of today. See exactly where those points kind of stand right now. We've seen already, say, Malignant managed to extend his lead a lot during these previous matches. Has a very tough opponent coming up soon as well to try and see if he can extend even more. But maybe a tale of the 2-0s today, right?
It could be. So I think Malignant, if he can make it for the final one also a 2-0, I think it would be our first player that goes for a 6 points in one day. Because so far, I think Pinkroyd has been getting 5 points in one day, and that was the highest so far. So let's see if Malignant can top that off.
Exactly. Getting 6 points is huge. It swings the points massively on our leaderboard. You can go from maybe even last all the way up into the at least middle or the top of the table as things are looking. But there is confirmation of our previous 6 matches today. Like we were saying, a lot of 2-0s across the board. These last 3 matches are going to be pivotal for a lot of our players, especially those ones that have managed to not get as many points as they maybe wished for before going into this day. Any match standing out for you there?
I'm definitely also looking forward to exactly that match of Malignant because he's playing against Scribblerbibble, and Scribblerbibble is, I think, the only player in this league that can actually steal the Jan Hong of Malignant that he pretty much plays in every match. But first, we're going to have the match of Best Spoon against Charge.
Exactly, Best Spoon versus Charge right here. Best Spoon, having lost 2-0 at the start against Malignant, has managed to turn things around in that last matchup, beating Merla 2-0, and Charge putting on a great display against Scribblerbibble in that last set. Let's see if he can carry on with that confidence going into this matchup right now, our match number 7 of the Summoners War European League. What did the Spoon say when it was hit by a Charge? That's unfortunately shocking. Here it is, our Summoners War European League, Match 7, Set 1 between Best Spoon and Charge. Miying and Silver being pre-banned, say.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see Miying being pre-banned right away, and that is by Charge liking Jongnam that much. And one of the few units that Jongnam does not like to play against, as we have seen before, is that Miying. But once again, Best Spoon going back to his comfortable pick. So Charge has been picking that Jongnam. Yep, there we have it.
Jongnam and partnering up with an Oliver, getting a good speed lead in there as well at the start of this kind of drafting phase. Sekhmet, speedy unit. Best Spoon, who are you going to look to partner with? Another speedy unit potentially?
Yeah, let's see what he would like to go for. Mostly, he does like to pair it with a lot more of his LDs. Still has potential for, let's say, a Laura or something. But the big question is, do you want to use that? Yep, that is definitely something we do want to use.
Exactly. Again, high base speed units. Charge has played kind of against these kind of opponents before. So coming in there with that Volantis and a Juno, kind of changing it up, going a bit more bruiser.
Yeah, definitely units he also has been showing before. So in this case, Best Spoon does have the opportunity to go for a... Ooh, something we haven't seen all too much, a Maximilian. I do like it in this position. However, you probably have to be banning out that Volantis in this case because the Volantis might overtake that turn. Then again, Charge has to be looking at something with a speed lead, but a Jessica is a very interesting unit, but not something with a speed lead.
Wow, Jessica coming out on the field. First time I think we've ever seen her in the Summoners War European League as well, unless Charge played it in those 2 weeks when I was off.
No, pretty sure we haven't seen that before, so I'm also very curious to see if that's going to make it on the field, because I think that the bans could also simply just be on the Oliver and the Sonya, so maybe we see the Jessica in here and then see what Charge is cooking up with that unit.
Exactly, let's see what he's got cooking for Best Spoon right now. Maybe he cooked it up with a fork instead of a spoon. Let's find out. The ban's coming in. It is going to be that Oliver. It is going to be the Sonya as well. Their speed lead and the HP lead on the side of Charge as we're getting into our Summoners War European League. Match 7, Set 1 between Best Spoon and Charge. 6th versus 3rd in this lineup.
Yeah, my eyes are mainly on that Jessica. Let's see how much she can perform. And also on the other side, how much damage is this Maximilian going to be doing? Because Maximilian is going to be having speed buff. If you have additional damage by speed, Laura is already doing a lot of damage. Coming in right now, that's a lot of damage, but that's also a lot of counters. However, this skill 2 is enough damage to kill the Juno. Does not manage to kill the Juno. So Juno is going to be healing up that whole team by just a bit.
Yeah, just a little bit though, because there's still those defense breaks around right now. Can you get some stuns?
Ooh, that's a decent amount, but that's exactly the one that you wanted to have stunned, because the moment that the Gojo is online, the Gojo can actually provide a strip or a cleanse itself. So in this case, we're gonna see what's this Jessica is all about. But I think pretty much the girl of the match in this case is all that Juno.
Exactly, he couldn't quite get rid of that Juno, and it's just going to be toying with him right now as Best-Spoon concedes and Charge comes out clutch there. I mean, not taking that Juno was huge in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And he even had the second turn. So the second turn of the Maximilian does do a lot of damage because that is where you go for enemy max HP scaling. And there was an armor break on that Juno. So once again, by good rune quality of Charge, showing that that Juno could survive, could take those hits, and therefore also heal up the other units.
Exactly, getting some counters in there as well was huge. Pre-bans this time coming out were taking away a 33 speed lead in Oliver and that light Gojo as well. Charge has the first pick. We've seen Jongnam before. Will we see Jongnam again?
I definitely do think we are going to see Jongnam again, because besides the Juno being really great in that matchup, Jongnam also did provide that stun at exactly the moment he needed it. So he definitely does like that. However, Best-Spoon does not like that and goes for a Mi Ying, and that is countering the stuns.
Mi Ying followed up by that Sekhmet there, then allowed to actually work the Sekhmet in that first set as well. However, it just followed up not in the end, not enough from that Maximilian, but a Vivichel to change things up on the side of Charge.
Definitely interesting to see a Vivichel into a unit that's already resetting, because one of the big counters of a Vivichel in most cases is that reset. However, she always has that danger in the draft of feeling like, okay, if she takes that right turn at that right moment, I instantly lose a unit right there. So it is the danger of the draft, but I would say that something along the lines of a Sakaar feels pretty strong in here, but Best-Spoon likes to play with the LDs.
We're going a bit more Bruiser, then we're getting Volantis, when they're getting that Eleanor as well. I mean, right there, providing so much kind of extra buffs. So what do you need? A stripper, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Juno is good here, but you have to keep that Mi Ying in mind. All of the units on the side of Charge, with maybe the exception of the Vivichel at the right moment, can't really deal with that Mi Ying. And this is the position that Best-Spoon does like to bring in that Audrey as well. And I think Audrey is a really strong unit in here, and I'm not sure if Charge can deal with that.
Let's find out if he can, or if he doesn't even want to deal with it during this ban phase right now, say.
Yeah, it's definitely, once again, that matchup where Best-Spoon has two really good damage dealers with a lot of protection around it. Last time we saw Mi Ying shine when the Audrey was banned. This time we see the Audrey shine with a 50% defense lead for 3 other units.
There we go. It is our Summoners War European League. Match 7, set 2. Best-Spoon really needs to get a point back right now. Sekhmet, can you do it?
Sekhmet has to do it, and does in this case actually do it. Big question right now, is that going to be 100 res on the side of that Light Pony and the Audrey? Then again, most cases we do see a 85 accuracy on that Silver, and so far, not too many things has been flying around, just a whole bunch of debuffs.
Exactly, we've got the suppression though on that Light Unicorn, so it's going to be preventing from doing too much at the moment, but a stun is always good.
Stun is always good, and that's where they have some more of it, and that's already where we see Audrey getting a good amount of damage. And we have seen it before that this Audrey just goes for a lot of healing as well. Plus it was on revenge, so the moment you start hitting it, or the moment you hit anything that has the hog on it, as we like to call it, the defend, it's just a lot of damage coming in.
Why would you hit it even with that defend right there? But we're getting an additional turn from Vivichel, but there's no useful skills from the reset.
Yeah, that's definitely a choice that I think it was the moment that you click on that choice, like, wait, I didn't want to do this. I'm pretty sure it was one of those scenarios. But now we're looking at AoE stunts, but we are glanced, and we did not connect that many stunts as we would have liked to see.
Did get an important one though, so didn't get a revenge coming in from that Audrey as well right now. Vivichel can look to be online, but it's all about this. Look, we're going to cleanse it all off.
Yep, cleansing everything off, and now we have the Audrey online, potentially doing a lot of damage. That's also the difference between builds on the Vivichel. You can make your Vivichel very tanky, but you can also do a lot of damage on your Vivichel, because in the end, the skill 1 is mainly scaling off speed.
Yeah, here we go. We're getting some extra sustain coming in from the side of Charge right now, but how is he going to be able to break through all of this?
Yeah, it's definitely hard. Plus, every time that the Vivichel is close to getting the skills back up, the skill cooldown on the Sekhmet is a lot shorter, so it's very much more likely for the Sekhmet to be able to reset that Vivichel time and time again.
And right now, deciding not to transform as well right there, only leaving on the immunity at the moment on that Light Unicorn, and he's seen the opportunity to maybe land in some damage.
Yeah, that is the moment where the Light Unicorn becomes pretty low on HP, and we're gonna see that with this skill too. It's gonna take out a good chunk of that HP. However, why being low HP, a little bit of healing also adds into a decent amount of HP being back.
It does, but at the moment that Raccoony being on the field is just cleansing any of those defense breaks coming out from Audrey. Can't quite make the most use out of it at the moment, and Jongnam is just being annoying.
Yeah, it's definitely being annoying, but this is where if your Vivagel were to be on a more of a crit rate or a damage build, it would have probably taken out that unit anytime early already. But we're getting close to the skills of the Vivagel, however, Sekhmet doesn't have the reset just yet.
Oh, you're looking for some big strips right now. So only gets one.
Only one is definitely not the big strips that we're hoping for. Plus, we have a Raccoony taking an additional turn. You could give it to the Vivagel right now, but there's no real good target for your Switch of Destiny right now. However, there is a pretty good target for a Giant Bat.
Yeah, Giant Bat getting some sustaining right there as well. Are you looking to transform now? Yes. Maybe try and get a stun as well somewhere. Doesn't quite come off.
Doesn't quite come up. Also tried to get that additional turn to get the cycling in, but Audrey's already doing so much damage. So in this case, Audrey is still working very well. And it's going to be that unit that's going to be dangerous. And you have to keep in mind, the moment you start hitting it, last few times that we saw it, every time it was on revenge. However, in this case, we might actually see a better rotation for the Vivagel.
Exactly. Vivagel might get an opportunity to try and use that skill 3 at the perfect moment right now. Jongnam managing to get some brand in there.
It is an okay moment to use it on the Volantis, but then again, the pony is going to switch right after and heal a little bit more. So even if you were to do it right now, we do actually give that little bit of attack bar, but can you land your suppression while being glanced? Or is that the skill that goes without activation?
Now you can try and get it in though. You do, and you get up all that immunity. You're going to prevent any turns really coming in from the side of Best Spoon for at least one more turn. Going for it anyway. To cleanse.
Yeah, I definitely do think it's the right moment to go for the cleanse, because in the end, sure, the switch is going to be on a longer cooldown, but for that reason, you can stay a little bit longer in the human form. It's not that big of an issue. Plus, everything is lowering a lot on HP already, and the Audrey is just going to be doing more and more damage.
Definitely. Big stun coming in there onto the silver as well right now. And Audrey, let's see, 12k hit.
12k hit, and that was without a defense break that she's self-applying as well. So if she is able to get that defense break in at the right moment and then take a hit, it's just going to do so much damage.
Definitely is right now, and there's not too much damage coming out from the side of Charge anymore. He's just going to try and keep sustaining and chipping it away.
Yeah, that's the thing where if you have a draft like this, in the end, you're pretty much drafting 4 supports if we count Jongnam as more of a setup as well. But just a simple shield to the face on that rat for pretty much 75% HP.
We were hammering that rat last week, say. This time we're just shielding it, right?
Yeah, in this case, that's just a shield to the face. And the Audrey, it's really slow by the amount of speed, but I think it's very effective rune for the amount of damage that it's putting out there right now. And I think the only way that you could ever kill it is that Vivagel getting a perfect rotation, but getting that perfect rotation is really difficult in a long match.
Exactly. Are you going to still be on the field long enough to kind of even get that opportunity or moment right here? Because this is looking very dire for Charge.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the opportunity for Charge is that pony being slapped right now. If you can control that pony a few more times with the silver, with the Vivagel, then sure, you might get there at some point. But not if it additional turns and goes back to the immunity. Actually, why would you go for that at that moment?
Not quite sure either, but I mean, I think he's hoping that just Audrey... Wow, so much damage coming in from any of these defends.
Yeah, the Audrey is doing enough damage, but if you were to lock down the Audrey at the right moment, it's still a dangerous thing, but even more dangerous is hitting that defense, and Charge does know that there's no coming back from that position.
Exactly. Best Spoon managing to get a point there off of Charge then in our match number 7. That's going to do him a world of wonders going into our leaderboard. It just goes to show, say, when that Audrey is on the field, and especially in the late game in a bruiser match, just how much damage she can apply to the rest of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is so good to have 2 of those units, the Miying or the Audrey. In both cases, they were pretty much the must ban, both of them. And you cannot really must ban both of them. So that's once again why the opponent kind of locked out his own draft in the slot 3 and the slot 4, going for too many support units that couldn't really deal with the Miying, making the Miying already pre-ban. But Best Spoon has another unit that's pretty much a similar style as Miying, also a must ban if you go for too many supports.
Exactly. Just showing exactly how well he was drafted then in that position right there. Understand what your opponent's doing, see how they've been playing, and making sure that you can adapt, especially into that second set. All of these matches are best of 2. If you fail the first time, you've got one more chance. just to get that extra point, which is what everybody kind of really needs to make sure they get at least something from the matches to make sure they're in those playoff positions, the top 8 going through to those playoffs later on in the season as well. That's been 7 matches so far. There's still 2 to go. Still some absolute blockbusters for European players as well. As confirmation, Best-Spoon won, Charge won. It ruined the pattern, say. Now I can tell you the pattern is definitely not a thing.
Well, it kind of depends how you look at the pattern. There's patterns in a lot of kind of different ways. So if we get double 2-0 right now, I still kind of see a pattern, but that's just me. However, we first have that match of Scribble Bibble against Malignant. And to get a somewhat of a pattern, we would need Scribble to 2-0 right now, whereas Malignant has been steamrolling his opponents thus far. So let's see what Scribble can do.
Exactly. Look at these guys ready for this matchup, commonly in each other's kind of streams as well. Any favorites going into this?
I would have it to Malignant. So simple fact is he's been winning everything so far, and those are also very convincing wins. So he's definitely making it look very easy. And the moment you make anything look easy, that's where you're doing something right.
Here we are then. The battle of the playlists. A Whomping classic is coming. Somebody might owe the other a favour here. Maybe. Let's find out in our Summoners War European League. Match 8, set 1 between Scribble Bibble and Malignant. These guys know each other a lot, say. They should know the pre-bans.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this case, it's also the question for who's going to take the Yan Hong, because Malignant has been playing the Yan Hong every time possible. But Malignant is also playing on the style. If I can't have it and you have the potential to first pick it, I'm going to be removing it. However, removing a Valagil when there's so many other good LDs on the side of Malignant, such as the Gianna that he's utilizing a lot, is kind of interesting.
Definitely. We're seeing the Water Twin Angels as well coming out again for Scribble Bibbles right here. Malignant's been usually tending towards an Oliver, and we've got the Oliver and the Laura strong picks.
Yeah, absolutely strong pick. So big question is, how is Scribble going to be speed contesting this? Or is he going to be contesting it with the style of a Heikang? Could definitely be an option. Well, we go different passive with the Juno and the Akroma.
Changing it up, going for a bit more Bruiser then. Akroma last time couldn't quite come off for Scribble Bibble against Charge, but he didn't really have too much sustain alongside with it there. Malignant, is he going to continue and go for that turn 1?
Well, the interesting thing is, last time around, the Akroma didn't do so well because of that Valagil. And I think that match is really still in Scribble's mind, where he's like, okay, that Valagil disabled my Akroma, therefore I pre-ban it. But there's something that is an interesting pick into an Akroma where you think like, the Zeratul might miss a crit. But in general, the Zeratul does mostly beat an Akroma. And we have some more LDs paired up with that Liponi right there.
Yeah, bringing in some more immunity right there. Some sustain as well going in the side of Malignant. Very well-rounded draft, I would say, at the moment. Scribble Bibble. Maybe you need some more defense break if that Chrome's going through, or are we going to see another Mi Ying?
Well, it's definitely a position where you could go for the Burkle. I'm not too sure about the Volantis, because in the end, Volantis is only going to be really good for one rotation right here, if that pony can get the proper skills off. Then again, Cigar is also interesting because Cigar is going to be in a position where you do know your enemy is going to take first turn. And if Malignant goes for another sustaining unit as in the Veramos, I think that he's looking at a very good draft.
Yeah, let's find out. Is he going to lock in that Veramos right here? Like you were saying, can kind of deal with that Volantis as well. All of the debuffs, just eat them up. Let me give them back to the rest of the team right now. Deciding for the full, and it is locked in. Do you have to ban it?
Well, I think there's a lot of good bans from Scribble towards Malignant. Either that's Light Pony or the Veramos are good options. On the other side, I would have said the Cigar, but that was already locked in.
Nice, good call then. Speed leads going in for both of Scribble Bibble and Malignant in our Summoners War European League. Match 8, set 1 between Scribble Bibble and Malignant. 4th versus 1st at the moment.
Let's see, Laura. Can we do some Laura things? The things that you do like to see on your side, but not like to see on the enemy side. In this case, no S3 into S2 rotation.
No, and there, Akroma's starting to do some damage, but there is going to be a light unicorn taking a turn very soon and can look to just cleanse it off.
Plus, there is that defense buff. The defense buff is just denying so much damage. And right now, sure, you can go for a rotation, try to get some damage in. Also, this Volantis, you have to be landing on the pony. Does actually manage to land on the pony very well.
Does manage to, but that Zeratul can go online. Skill 2 into skill 1. Big damage kind of coming in there.
Big damage coming in, but only having a 2 rotation rather than a normal 3 rotation. We also are still looking at a stunned pony. So the pony is actually denied for 2 turns at the moment. And that is the unit that Malignant needs to get online. However, that Zeratul, you can try to deal damage into it right now, but the Zeratul does have that passive that it gets a little bit of chip healing every time it takes a turn.
Exactly, and Malignant is just waiting for that additional turn if it comes from that Unicorn as well right now. Oliver can look to make sure it has enough ample time to kind of try and do it. Oh!
Ooh, we have this Unicorn taking that additional turn, getting rid of all of the hard work of the enemy team at this moment. And we have Zeratul just, once again, going for a double rotation. But as mentioned, anytime it takes an extra turn, an additional turn, or the turn that comes from that skill too, it's just going to be so much damage. And it's looking at full HP once again.
Exactly, maybe that was a caster curse right there from me, calling that out. But it did end up happening. Akroma not looking healthy right now. But maybe you can turn it around. It's going to be a long shot.
Juno still did hold on to that skill too. It does have a little bit of chance right there, but anytime that Zeratul takes a turn, those dots on it don't matter all too much because that passive healing is in there. The only option could be if the Akroma takes a turn in front of that Zeratul right now, maybe can do a decent amount of damage, but I don't think we're gonna get there unless this Akroma is boosted up a little bit by the passive.
Not quite. We've got a skill 3 coming in from Laura then. Can just do more damage, and it's enough to take out that Akroma as well right there.
Yeah, that's just so much damage from those units, and they just need a few simple turns, and they're just dealing so much damage time and time again. Also, looking at this damage, it's just straight up a 10k hit altogether with 3 dots. You're losing a lot of HP by a unit that is hard to kill, and is simply just healing itself while having immunity all the time. That's just a really difficult unit to deal with.
The sleep as well coming in, allowing for that cycle. If you want, you can just try and do more damage and more damage, say.
Yeah, Laura wasn't really doing Laura things at the very first round, but afterwards she's like, I'm still Laura, I'll show you how it's done. I'll show you that I can still take my extra turns, get the extra sleeps, and get all of the extra damage in. And once again, that is a victory for Malignant.
I was speaking earlier, say, about Scribblebibble's Nightmares and how Laura is probably very prevalent in them. Maybe she's going to be in another one tonight as well, right?
Absolutely, and that also makes it interesting to go for a pre-ban once again on that Valajul. When there is a Zeratul, there's a Gianna, there's a Laura, there's so many good things to ban in the first place, but that also makes it so difficult. So in this case, we're going to go for an Oliver pre-ban and a Miying.
Yeah, we've got Oliver and Miying going out there. We don't see a Laura. Malignant does have that first pick, though, so can look to lock in a Speedly. Maybe you even want to steal the War Twin Angels. It's what Scribble's been playing a lot right now. Or do you go for a different one?
Well, Ciara is also something that works very well with the draft of Malignant, but also has an FTs. Why not?
Why the hell not? Scribblebibble responding with a more classic draft from him as well, with that Ciara, with the Yonhong, but Nightmares have come to return.
Yep, absolutely. And in this case, with a Hagang combination, it's also very hard to go for a certain strip into snipe combination that a Yonhong normally likes to do. So I do like the Hagang in this position, especially where the Hagang is placed next to a unit that has more buffs up more most of the time because of that Laura skill 3.
Exactly, just providing so much from the passive being out on the field right there and prevented any kind of anti kind of pick coming from Scribblebibble to prevent that. Are we going to see more? Ooh, changing it. He's going for the Jongnam this time.
I'm not too sure about those two units right now, because in most cases, you're probably going to get outsped, except for that Yonhong, and you still have to lock in a second speed lead. Then again, Malignant still has to show 2 units as well. Could definitely go for a Gianna in this case, but you already have 2 strippers on the field. You can also go for more protection, and in the form of that Valajul.
Valajul and Chandra. I think it's the first time of Chandra as well today, say. Interesting to see him only coming out now in a 5th pick.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see Chandra right here. I think he was looking for any speed lead that he's comfortable with playing. Ciara is already on the opponent's side. The Oliver is already banned, so we're actually already locking out a lot of speed leads. Scribble, however, still finds one.
Yep, he's coming back to those Water Twin Angels there. Instead of being kind of first pick, bringing it in at the last, ensuring he has that double speed lead, because he's facing a double speed lead as well right now. For the bans, we're going to be getting Yonhong, and we're going to be getting that Laura coming out on the side of Malignant. Speed leads for both of our guys going into this one likely, as it is our Summoners War European League Match 8 set 2 between Scribblebibble and Malignant. If Malignant wins again, that's the first 6-0 ever in the Summoners War European League 2025, say.
Yeah, definitely. But let's see what happens here because I feel like the Chandra is a little bit maybe in an off position. But let's see what kind of rotation Scribble wants to go for. He does actually want to make Neftis get a turn where it's a little bit awkward because you don't want to be using any of those skills right now. Also, the Heigang is actually moving in front of the Cigar, which is not really something you would like to see. But once again, he's trying to force in all of those units to get awkward turns where they can't really do all too much.
Can you get stunned? Big stun as well right there, right now. And you don't get your own stun. Can Cigar land that reset?
If Cigar lands this reset right now, does actually connect the reset. So I definitely would say that Scribble's sitting in the driver's seat right now. And that is simply by actually having a very good pre-ban and a very good read on that Oliver, because Oliver is one of those units. Sure, all of the LDs really shine on the side of Malignant, but in this case, the Oliver is actually the pivotal point which enables all of those LDs.
Exactly. Big stun as well onto that Chandra in that first turn. And now he's definitely, like you said, in the driving seat. Can try and get some turn cycling in there right now. And that Neftis couldn't get into a skill 2.
Yeah, not getting into that skill too. Oh, we do have an additional turn right there. We're one turn away from the skills of this Velodyl right here. But I think Ciara will take a turn in front of that. And with that, you can take out that Velodyl altogether as well.
Oh, and that's huge for Scribblebibble right there. Skill 3 can get some more healing and stuns across the board.
Stuns across the board, that's absolutely what you want to see from that Jungnam. Bomb on the Velodyl, connecting it. And there's just a lot of damage coming in. Did actually connect that additional turn, but did not have a turn because of that bomb stun.
Definitely didn't. And Scribblebibble taking back a point has prevented anyone from having 6 wins in one day here right now, say, as it is confirmed 1-1 between Scribblebibble and Malignant. Pwah, huge to be able to come back and adapt there, say.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually that Oliver pre-ban was a very good read of Scribble because so far, I think any match that Malignant had so far, he has been having that Oliver. And then Oliver's just followed up with either Laura or Gianna or Yeon Hong. There's a lot of options coming after that, but that first option is always exactly the same. And pre-banning that actually did work out very well because the Neftis in the end also did lead into like, oh, I need a second speed lead, but the Sierra's already gone. Let's go for Chandra, but the Chandra did not fit in that match at all.
Exactly, didn't manage to take the turns, and Scribblebibble comes out kind of semi-victorious with a 1-1 against Malignant right there. Malignant will still be top of our leaderboard as well, I would think, at least going into the end and final match of today right now. But it's going to do a world of good for Scribblebibble, just extend a little bit more over that current mid-pack. It was 5 points or 6 points earlier today. Probably it's going to spread a little bit further now as well, maybe even up to the 7 or 8 point kind of gap as well. And it's all to play for. One more match to go, say. Final match of this week. Patterns have been broken because we're going to see it in just a few seconds as well, exactly how that's going. But again, Jongnam, I love that guy. I think I need to room one up.
Yeah, Jungnam is definitely doing a lot of work, and the next player that we do see with Josu definitely does like his Jungnam as well. But he's playing against Merle, which is actually one of those players that Jungnam hasn't been performing that well against because, well, to be honest, I think it still has a pretty decent shot. It's only the Feng Yang and the Juno that you have to be careful with. But it's still definitely a unit that could be here as well. Also, besides not having seen any 6-0s, we also don't have any 0 and 6s so far, which could be a potential one right here too.
Exactly, could be. Definitely don't want to go out of a match day number 5 with 0 points to your name. Merle really needs to kind of close the gap on the rest of that mid pack as well at the moment, sitting in the bottom position, I still believe at the moment. It's going to be tough, but you're against Josu right now. You've kind of seen what he's been playing earlier, going away from Silver, those Water Twin Angels. Is she going to change it up, or are we going to see more Feng Yan and Shizuka or Vivichel coming off for her?
Well, that definitely depends. So far in all of the match days that she has been doing, it's pretty much the same kind of units. The Burkle did actually switch things up a little bit earlier today. Unfortunately, didn't really work out. But let's see what Josu has decided to play for just her as well, because Josu kind of has like a semi-CC, but also somewhat of a bruiser comp. So that might be more in the favor of Merle right here.
Let's find out. Is Merle going to be having a catastrophe of a day? Oh, come on. You've got to be kidding me. Let's find out in this matchup between Josu and Merle. Pre-bans have come in, Silver going out, and Juno, the usual first pick of Merle. What will she change it up for?
Feng Yang, is that going to be the one? Or are we actually going to be very switching things up? Definitely taking your time for a first pick. So that is mostly the time, like, you're already kind of Okay, we're going for a Burgild first pick. Interesting.
Berghill coming out. We've got both Twin Angels as well coming out on the side of Josu. He's been favouring that a lot today.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's also been working for him pretty well. So don't change a winning team. Also on the other side, Merle is definitely switching things up a little bit with a Moore right there and the Laura.
Definitely a change up. Let's see. Is it leaning more into that turn one? Josu kind of sees that and he's going to contest it a little bit more with that Esche high base speed unit and a Velajool.
Yeah, definitely a combination that Josso has been drafting exactly the same for before. So let's see what Merle goes for a counter into this. Goes for a Miles. I actually do really like that over here. You could even go for a Miles Raccoon in this position.
Let's find out. I mean, last time it's always usually a Feng Yen somewhere in the draft. No, going for a Neftis here instead then on the side of Merle. All out attack.
I'm not too sure if that is the right play because in the end, a Heigang is definitely something that's going to be on the field. Plus, you still have the Twin Angels that are most likely going to be outspeeding you.
Let's find out in the bans right now. Do you have to respect that Heigang? Are you going to be letting the Berghill come through or even a Laura? Neftis being banned out then along with the Heigang. Mind games coming into play as both players likely to take the speed leads coming in right now, 24%. It's our Summoners War European League. Final match of the day, set one between Josu and Merle. 7th versus 12th.
Let's see, we have two turns on the side of Merle, both for the Miles and that Burgild. And you have to be denying the turn, well, actually on multiple units as well. Oh, that's actually an interesting style to try to go for that Velajool right away. Try to deny. That's actually good damage coming in. And actually the Laura is taking a turn earlier as well. If you get an armor break on this hit, I think you would want to go for an armor break. Actually goes for the skill 2, does not connect anything, so therefore we could maybe also claim that the armor break wouldn't have hit neither. But on an armor break, you would have been able to kill right there.
Exactly, and Esche likely going in next. He's going to be able to heal a little bit more up from that Velajool right now. No cool times were inserted, and it's the moment for Velajool now to kind of go online.
It's actually interesting to get this to Velajool. Actually goes for an armor break setup himself, so doesn't go for the Sanctuary just yet, is keeping that, but because of that, we do have the Moore still taking a turn as well. How much damage on that Moore? Not too much damage on the Moore, but it is Despair.
Exactly, and Miles is going to be coming soon, and he's going to probably be able to take out that Velajool very, very much easily.
Yeah, we have seen this Miles do good damage, so that's definitely well played on very much switching it up. And also noticing the drafting style of Josu is having a lot of buffs, and Miles is one of those units that can utilize with it. However, we're not done yet. We're still looking at like, okay, how much can we do with this Burgild, with the armor break setups? And this Moore didn't show that much damage as of just yet, so it's still a bit of an uphill battle where these Twin Age do a lot of damage.
Yeah, exactly. These Twin Angels just taking turns. Can you get some more stuns right now? Get Esche back online. Those 5 Twin Angels were doing a lot of damage into the Laura then.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're also just the cooldown decrease. It helps out a lot. However, this Moore is on Despair. Can you connect your Despair stun? You probably do need it. It does need it. However, there is Violet on this Asher and takes out the Laura with a Massacre.
Exactly. Like we were saying before, say confirm those kills. If it's still on the field, anything can happen right there. These Twin Angels are going to be pushing up the attack bar as much as they can. Can Miles get some stuns in important moments?
Ooh, once again, those armor breaks are not connecting. I'm not sure what the accuracy is on that Burgild, or it's just being unlucky right there because armor breaks are not connecting. However, they are connecting on the side of Burgild herself.
Yeah, and you've got that skill 2 opportunity going for the stun. It's resisted though.
Once again, having trouble landing the skills, and that's definitely unfortunate there because I do think that Merle had a pretty strong matchup in this one. Finally, does have the armor break right there, but there's also a healing potential or a kill potential for the Dasher.
Yeah, we've got more coming in soon. I think he's had that skill, only skill 1 available right there. Can you get a stun?
You have to get a stun. Where do you get it? Does not get a stun in this moment, so Massacre will definitely take it out. However, skill 1 also just simply takes it out.
Exactly, saving it for later on when he can use it to better effect right now. But those Twin Angels cycling through skills so quickly.
Yep, and there's a lot of additional damage coming in right there. Miles definitely has to step it up, maybe do some additional turns of his own. Despair stuns, we do get a Despair stun, but not really on the unit that we would have liked to see.
Exactly, it's all about just some additional turns from Miles right now to really try and get rid of units. But Esche being on that field, the sustain is coming through very strong.
Absolutely, but besides that sustain, there's also a lot of damage coming in from that Massacre, and it's going to be looking at a match of Moore against the world. However, this Moore, I think it's more of an HP-based Moore, because it's not been dealing that much damage itself.
Exactly, and more without his passive as well right now. He's going to be taking damage from all of these units, and that's not going to help him.
No, absolutely not. And this is also the position where you mostly do like a Moore in current position, especially with that attack buff passive. You do like your Moore to do a decent amount of damage because it's just simply taking out units, especially if an armor break is already there. Moore is a really good damage dealer, but in this case, was very high on the sustain, but that did not really help in this matchup.
Exactly, Merla had the good start, but couldn't really capitalize on it. And as that match kind of went on further, you could really see Josu kind of grab a hold of the match and say, nah, I'm here to stay. I'm going to carry on here. These Twin Angels have been proving very beneficial for me right now. Who do you think is going to be pre-banned?
It's definitely interesting to see for the pre-ban. So most of the time, I would say people are pre-banning Feng Yang and Junos or even the Vivaciel against Merle, but Merle has been showing a very different draft. Laura is then a safe pick because that fits into both of the playstyles that she does play.
Exactly, Laura going out. And one of the Twin Angels, the Fire ones, have been taken away from Josu there. Are we going to be seeing the Water Twin Angels coming out first, though?
Most likely. I definitely do think so.
Yeah, it's confirmed from Josu right now. Merla, you've got that Juno available. We know it's a tendency to kind of use that as a first pick right now. However, it's kind of changed it up in these previous sets that we've just seen.
Yeah, definitely had the switch up before, but it wasn't really working towards her favor as well. So then maybe she goes back to switching it back to her normal style draft. No, does actually like to go for that Moore in there. Whereas I think Moore in the previous draft was the only one that wasn't really connecting that well.
Yeah, we've got an Esche, we've got a Veligil coming out on the side of Josu right now. Merla kind of maybe tending to go back towards those previous picks as well. We're going to see the Feng Yan coming out. Josu's in very much a driving seat right now.
Yeah, I definitely do think so as well. Also, if she would go for a Vivaciel and Feng Yang right now, I do think that Josu can take care of that because in the end, Josu does have that Miying as well. So it is one of those units we have seen before that can definitely take out his Wind brother right there. The only thing you have to take care of is that Vivaciel, which maybe you want to be looking for some resets in the form of a Cigar, Sekhmet, or even Oliver.
Yep, let's find out if Josu's going to go for that one. He hasn't been tending to... If in doubt, Zeratul and Miying.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage coming right there. Like, if we're talking about the Kings of Bruiser on single target right there, they're on the field on the side of Josu right now. So let's see what Merle can respond to that, because those two units are very difficult to deal with. I would almost say that you have to go for a Federica and hope to snipe one out.
Yeah, instead maybe going for a bit more of a delay tactic with that Wusa, getting up some shields. But like you said, the damage from the Zeratul and the Miying, as well as the self kind of sustain that comes through from these units, it's going to be hard to deal with the longer this match goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think what she's trying to do is get immunity up and then maybe not have that many strips on the enemy side. However, there's 3 units on the side of Josu that do have a strip, because the Valigil skill 1 still does strip.
Let's find out in our last set and last match of the Summoners War European League. We're going to get those shields up from the side of Wusa right here.
It's a little bit of an awkward timing as well. It's definitely a swift Wusa right there, but if you connect the strip and armor break right now, which actually did happen, I think we're going to be looking at it that more if it doesn't push back a lot.
Oh, does manage to get that stun right there, but Miying with the nearly 6k hits right now.
Yeah, that's just so much damage coming in there. And if you go for a Massacre right now, also 5 hits times 4, that's or 5k hits times 4. It's just a lot of damage instantly taking out a unit.
Exactly, and we've seen before the Miying brother has taken out his Wind brother in the previous matches, saying at the moment, I think Josu can just target all the other units and leave it to that one.
Yeah, I definitely do think so. Definitely have to be focusing on that Wusa, because if Wusa gets more skills in, it will be pretty annoying to deal with. The immunity is still there. Decided not to go for skill 1, because in the end, you're not 100% sure if you would actually strip that immunity. But the moment that the shield is gone, you can just go for a skill 1 strip and then start landing that armor break.
Exactly, look how much sustain is coming through from that Miying with the skill 2 and the skill 3 coming off prior. It's only a matter of time before he can really get rid of that immunity and start dealing some good damage.
Yeah, this is also the position. Do you want to wait with your Massacre to go for an armor break setup on the Massacre? And that's actually what he was aiming for in that first turn. And then he was like, nah, I'm dealing enough damage anyways. Let me do for that Massacre. And then we have some more work for Miying to do later.
Exactly, and right now I'm deciding not to kind of put up any of his own sustain coming through there, but these defense breaks are going to be huge if they land.
Ooh, no defense breaks, but still a good amount of damage. 3.5k per hit. It's definitely hurting that Wusa to a good extent. Also, once again, Sanctuary coming up. We don't have the skill 2 of the Juno just yet, but we do have the skills coming in from, once again, the Asher and the Miying.
So much attack bar boost up on the side of Josu as well right now. Merla just cannot take enough turns to really kind of get her units online. You can even look to set up a defense break. Not yet.
Yeah, not yet, because Juno was taking a turn right after. So that's the moment you kind of want to withhold that and just use it at a later time. We do have this armor break sitting on this Feng Yang already. And this is where Massacre starts dealing a lot of damage.
And even there, if you strip and you stun that Miying, it had that skill 3 on lockdown available right now. A bit of a risk, but needed to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is also the position, once again, you can start placing all of your buffs the moment you do have them on cooldown. So, but first, we're gonna say goodbye to this Juno, or does she live? She lives with this sliver of health.
At the moment right now, but like we said before, 4 versus 1 and Miying on the field against Merla, against that Feng Yan. It's only going to be time.
Yep, absolutely. And this Miying, once again, has been shown. I think the Miying for today is on 100% win rate. I think there was not a single Miying lose, and that just shows the strength of it. Maybe I missed one match here and there, but definitely has been seeing a lot of Miyings right there, and it's been doing very well.
Definitely has, and it's confirmation there. Josu has taken 2 points against Merla there. She will find herself still at the bottom of our leaderboard, but Josu maybe has extended up into kind of the mid-table right there, say. Again, kind of showing the strength of Miying, definitely, and also the adaptability of Merla not quite coming off. She did try to change it up in that first set, but it just wasn't quite enough damage-wise against those Twin Angels. Some strong drafting going through there, but Josu, another 2 points. It's exactly what you need right now.
Absolutely. I definitely did like her first drafting style with that Miles. I think the Miles definitely is one of those units that does fit her playstyle of just dealing a lot of damage while still being very tanky. She definitely has that in mind. I want to be tanky enough, but still deal damage. Whereas a more, if you don't deal damage or like you don't put actual damage on it, it's just not going to do as much. Miles is one of those units that actually fits very well for her, so I think she should utilize that more. But then again, did not really work out, but then on the second draft, it was slightly different, still based on that more, but it worked out even worse because in the end, just the 0-2 and the Miying. We have seen it also with the same playstyle on Big Spoon. The moment you have 2 of those high single target damage dealers and you want to ban both, you're probably looking at a bad match.
Exactly. It's never good when you're kind of banning between 2 of the worst opponents or worst monsters to kind of face off against. And there it is, confirmation for everybody watching the stream. That is what happened in our scheduled day 5. That's what happened from 8 o'clock today all the way through these 9 matches. And we're probably going to be seeing the leaderboard as well to see exactly how that has kind of rounded off, to see where they are. Some big standout matches there, say some big 2-0s that were kind of needed in this Summoners War European League, right? Malignant, what a force.
Yeah, absolutely. Going up by 5 points, that's definitely going to put him on the top of the leaderboard. Also, Merla being on 0 points definitely shows her that she's on the bottom of the leaderboard all the way. It does also show that Big Spoon and Scribble definitely still are on the edge of the playoffs itself, because all of the players that are below Big Spoon still have to play another round. So they definitely have a chance to catch up on Big Spoon and Scribble right there.
Exactly. Look at that Josu as well, extending all the way up into the 9 points. A bunch of them on 9 points there right now. It's going to be very hard to get into those kind of top 8. You're probably going to be looking at around an 8 or 9 points minimum to be in there, say. And there's still a couple of weeks left before we get to those playoffs. Remember, everybody watching, every Wednesday, or at least the next few Wednesdays, we'll be here at 8 o'clock on Say's channel, or if you're watching us on YouTube on the Summoners War Europe channel. And it's all to play for right now. We're going to be having the rest of the 6 players kind of facing off as well next week, and let's find out what those fixtures fully will be, I think, later on, or if not, make sure you're tuning in on all of the socials to see exactly what's happening there. But it's crazy to see all these changes. But what's even crazier is we're giving another coupon away. That's why you've been sticking around. Make sure you're following in chat for EU League 5. Very easy to type out, whether you're going on iOS or if you're doing it through Android. Let us know, wherever it might be. 2 mystical scrolls this time, sir. 2.
So that's double the chance of that jungler. That is what we're looking at.
Exactly.
Still
double
probably,
the chance.
it's still not that much, but double the chance is definitely a lot more. But yeah, once again, great matches. But also looking at the leaderboard, still all of the points are quite close to one another. Because first I was looking at Scribble being rank 5, I think. And then I looked further up. It's like, wait, he's on the exact same points as the rank 2, which is Josu. So rank 2 to rank 5 at the moment are exactly on the same point. So just getting that one extra win over one another might actually make it towards the playoff or even better position in the playoffs because the ranks are that close to one another.
Exactly. It's all about seeding as well when it gets to those playoffs. The higher you are, the less matches you have to play in your kind of journey through to being the winner of the Summoners War European League right now. I hope you enjoyed everything that we had on offer today, folks. It was some crazy good matches. We'll be back here again next week at 8 o'clock where there'll be even more crazier matches. Say, how much did you enjoy today?
Absolutely enjoyed it a lot. Definitely like to see some of those matchups where people just start drafting something differently. And I think the big winner of today is that Miying. It worked so well.
Exactly. Mi Ying has come to play against his brother Tian Lang. I'm here, I'm staying, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Make sure you're there. Bye.